Good evening, Barbados. Good evening, the Caribbean. Good evening, the world. You are watching the Marcia Week Show, and we are coming to you live from Barbados. Oh my goodness, this is an amazing day, a powerful day, a day that had a lot of us, hopping mad. To be honest, a lot of us were hopping mad today. But hey, here we are. We're meeting around it all today. We're meeting around it all tonight. You are watching the Marcia Week Show, and I'm going to ask you guys to share and to like and to subscribe. Yeah, we need you to subscribe. Now, look at you want to know why we were so mad? Did you hear the news about Jemmotts slain? Did you hear the leader of the opposition in the lower house last night? A few persons heard him because they tried to sneak it in when we are talking all about the budget and all of that. Then they tried to sneak it in about Jemmotts Lane, that they're going to give Jemmotts Lane free of cost. Crown lands free of cost, does not belong to them, belong to the people of Barbados, but they decided to give it free of cost. And we're going to discuss that tonight. And a lot of people were calling my phone. I know I was feeling your pain today from early morning. And listen, that is why, you see, this is why we're going to on Saturday, March the 22nd. Everybody, put this down. Put it in your phone. Those of you who don't like to do that, you still like to use a little notebook. You put it in the notebook, right? Saturday, March the 22nd at 10 a.m. You've got to come out. You've got to let your voice be heard. You've got to sacrifice a few hours. Look at Senator Crystal Haynes. She sacrificed her entire job. I mean, one of her jobs. I mean, she's a doctor, but she's no longer a Senate because she decided to speak out about this. So to walk down to come down to Folkestone Beach and walk from Folkestone to Whole Town, it's nothing. It's nothing. Saturday, March 22nd at 10 a.m. You know how we do it. If it is that we have enough persons who might need transportation, need a bus on the road, a small bus, probably a 7-seater. If you cannot walk, let us know. The number is right there, 236-7000. And if we have enough persons, we will get a small bus for you so that you could still be part of it. And that's the number there, 236-7000. We mean business people. It's not about just getting up and we are typing away on the phone. But Judy Jukes, we need to be there. We need to be there Saturday, March 22nd at 10 a.m. We are displaying our love for Barbados. And when we hear of all of these places that are for sale, listen, Barbados, Bay Street, try to imagine that. So what they're trying to do with Bridgetown is the same thing that has been done with St. James, okay, with St. James, where you have to either go, you have to go to Folkestone to get to the beach, to a real beach, because they made the little spaces between hotels so tiny and far between, right? So you have two, I think it's Spain's Bay, Dave can correct me, and you have Folkestone all along that stretch. So that's what they want to do. So imagine, one of the developers said that Bridgetown will become Dubai on steroids. I read that in the newspaper. So they're changing up Bay Street. They're putting up these hotels in Bay Street, Brighton, Dover, East Coast, Barbados Defense Force headquarters at Garrison, folks. They're moving that and they're taking that inland. Gibbs Gully. We were there on Sunday. Jemmotts Lane, the old General Hospital, Oistins. I have a document to show you all later about Oistins. The Newton Historic Slave Burial Ground, there was a big issue about that. We're just showing you all of the areas that they have decided that they claim they're developing. And what it is that they believe that is, as someone on the show said, you know what, things are hard, and so what we're going to do, we're going to sell the jewels, the family jewels. So they're selling out everything, the whole town civic center, Screw Dock, right there in town, which is the world's last standing dock. Historic. It's historic. Yeah. And that's what is happening. You have in fact, let me just quickly tell you before we go to the anthem, because I think that it is it's important that you hear this, and we're going to put this in a document for you. Carlisle Bay alone will have 5 hotels. Do you see what I mean when I tell you all of along there? We're going to have a little tiny place to go to bathe. Carlisle Bay, 5 hotels. Trevor's Way, there will be a 6-story hotel there at Trevor's Way. That's when you're driving, you're coming home from work, or you're going into town, you can look over there and see the nice blue sea. No. Hink Street Harbor Blocks, they envision a mix of townhouses, villa-style accommodation with a tower element up to 15 stories, facing the Careenage Boardwalk. 15 stories. We're getting this from the Barbados Tourism Investment.com. I'm not making it up. 15 stories along Hink Street and Harbor Blocks. Townhouses. Right? That's Trevor's Way. That's going to change. This is why I say I join. Listen, as the leader of the opposition says, a lot of this will cause people to rebel. What they're doing, it's like parents that have children and they are infuriating the children. Right? They're pushing them to anger, and this will cause people to rebel. I want to say to Barbados, remember, we can rebel in peace. We can have a peaceful rebellion. We can rebel. It doesn't have to be nothing. We are rebelling. When you come out on the 22nd of March and showing your love for Barbados, it is rebellion to the state. How dare you? And you have not had one single word of discussion with us. Saturday, March 22nd. You can imagine a 15-story. Listen, you all knew it was 15 stories. I'm going to play the anthem, but I want you all to understand these things. 15 stories. 15, 1-5. In the middle of town, facing the Careenage. We will never be able to recognize Bridgetown. And let me tell you something. That's not going to be for us to be. It's the same way how we drive through Whole Town. You know that way? You pass and say, oh, this is Whole Town. You drive through. That's what Bridgetown is going to be. They're pushing us inward. Carlisle bond blocks in the Carlisle, 10 stories. 10 stories, including hotel, residential, and ancillary purposes, right? You have Oistins, and I have the RFP for Oistins, right here. And listen, these are the places that they are moving in Oistins, and we're going to look at that when Don Leacock is going to come on, and that's where he lives. And we're going to look at that when he comes on and show you the Royal Barbados Police Force. And as far as I know, didn't they just build that building? Somebody please correct me. You will know those details. Didn't it? The post office, the library, the community development, the welfare department, the licensing authority, the Barbados Revenue Authority, the magistrates court, the bus terminal. Okay? All of that is moving. All of that. And they have selected, this is already a done deal. Oistins is a done deal as far as they are concerned. But as far as the people of Barbados, we are concerned, listen, it's not a done deal. It is done when we say it's done. Barbados. How much more of this are we going to take and keep yapping on it? This calls for a rebellion. This our ancestors are calling and rattling inside of us and calling for a rebellion inside of here. Rebel, Barbados, and your rebellion does not have to end in violence. We are talking about a peaceful rebellion. What peaceful rebellion? Because we have parents, in this case, the authorities, that are aggravating the citizens. You are aggravating us. You know that the people have a problem with it, and you still go and sit down last night and curse the leader of the opposition. One voice. And tonight, I'm going to take you through the timeline. After Miss Rose Corbin comes in, I'm going to take you through a timeline. Don't miss it. I'm not seeing Miss Corbin. Don't miss it. I'm going to take you through a timeline, folks, and show you what they have done, the wickedness of this government. And they thought we were sleeping. Huh? They thought we were sleeping, and no wonder they had to get rid of Senator Crystal Haynes because she had the pulse on something. No wonder they're cursing Ralph in the lower house. He's got his pulse, or he's got his finger on something. And that something is called greed. I'm going to show you tonight. Don't log off. I'm going to show you tonight. Okay? I need you to share. I'm telling you, folks, I'm not in any joking here tonight. Every one of you watching this, if you don't come out, to me, you're a punk. You're only talking and you're doing nothing about it. If you are well in your body and March 22nd, you are not at Folkestone in your walking shoes, your trainers, in your little sneakers, and your little umbrella, and your bottle of water, although we give you water, and you are not at Folkestone, what you're doing, you're punking. You're wasting people's time. Find yourself on the streets. Listen, we're fighting in all different ways. The senator lost her job as a senator, fighting for us in the Senate. And then you're going to tell me you can't come out? Mr. Thorne is being cursed and humiliated inside of the lower house. And you're going to still say you can't come out? Listen, I'm not here defending any party. You hear what I tell you? As far as I know, the senator is still BLP. Mr. Thorne has crossed the floor and he's representing DLP. But I don't care if you're independent. I don't care. What we are going to line up behind is the Barbados flag. And we're going to come out in our Barbados colors on the 22nd. No excuse. No excuse. None. We're militant like what tonight? We're serious. Serious tonight. I'm not, no. So let us go into the national anthem. And I see Rose is here. So we're going to go, let me just go right into the national anthem. And then the next voice you're going to hear is Rose. And I just want to tell you something really special. Quick before the anthem. We have new music for you tonight. We have new music for you tonight. Judy, get ready to dance. Get ready to the original music. Fresh from the studio tonight, yeah? All right.
One
write our names on the history page with expectations. Great. Listen. March 22nd. March 22nd. March 22nd at 10 o'clock. Make sure that you are there. Right there, Folkestone. Folkestone, make sure you are there. And I have with me here the lovely Mrs. Rose Corbin. Good night, Rose.
Yes, I'm pleased to be here, Marcia. Thanks for the welcome. And as I normally greet those who've joined us, good evening and best wishes to the loyal sons and daughters all, firm craftsmen of and women of her faith. Thank you, Marcia, for the opportunity.
You're
Thank
most
you.
welcome.
Yes, Marcia?
Yes, I
Permission?
was saying you're most welcome. We go right ahead. We're gonna just so the viewers know we are gonna have you on for the next 20 minutes.
Yes,
And
please.
we're real tight tonight. But then
Yes, please.
if you would be so kind to come back at 9 o'clock,
Yes,
would be
please.
great to have you back at 9 o'clock. I'm sorry, 8:30. 8:30. 8:30. We'll
Yes.
have some discussion before the calls come in. So go right ahead, Mrs. Corbin.
Thank you. This evening, I am going to look at what would have captured our attention, the attention of the Barbadian public and
Mm-hmm.
those elsewhere over the last couple of days, starting with Tuesday, when the leader of the opposition, Honorable Rathorn, would have um, made a reply to the budget that was presented. I know that there has been discussion, and discussion will follow in the show later tonight. But what I want to do is to what has concerned me, and Martha, as I told you, I was very much occupied. My domestic as well as other affairs were suspended from that when you started your broadcast, outdoor broadcast, right through the night until the cameras of uh, Parliament live stream went off. And I started back then on Wednesday for the long haul. And then I missed some sections on yesterday, but I picked them up. I was reviewing lots of deliveries, and up to this evening, about 15 minutes before I came on the show, and I sent Dave some clips. What has concerned me is not the length of the response, the reply by the leader of opposition. I was not totally impressed with the budget itself, but I laud the young gentleman, MP Ryan Strawn, for responding as he was required to by, I believe, the instruction and directive from the Prime Minister. I don't believe all this talk about giving him a chance to deliver was the real reason. But as we know, he was given the chance and he did it. However, I observed some behaviors that have concerned me. And those who would have heard me on previous occasions speaking to activity in the lower as well as the upper house, you would know that I'm concerned about the conduct and what occurs in many occasions in the lower house and what was creeping into the upper house by through several of the government appointed senators. Now, I have sent Dave some clips because I don't want to be accused of just they tend to see us, Marcia, if we don't agree with them. We ramble, we are theatrical, and those are the assignments to us who
Yes.
don't agree with them. Therefore, I went through laboriously the clips, the videos with audio, as well as the transcripts, Marcia and
Yes.
viewers, to extrapolate some of the things that occurred and disturb me and should disturb you. May
Yes.
I ask Dave, let me turn off my phone a minute, please, and let me ask Dave, please,
Mm-hmm.
to show that first clip. Because, and as an intro, you would realize how many recently converted persons we had in the lower house. Many of them had an instantaneous conversion, like Saul on the road to Damascus. I didn't know the house had so many preachers. They
Hmm.
we had it from MP
What? Excuse me, Rose. This is what you want him to play?
Let me see that clip.
Okay. It's a video.
Dave would have had the clips. Yes, yes.
Okay. So he's ready. Do you want him to
He's
play it?
ready
Yes.
because he told me to give him a 1 minute break. You see, so I
Ah,
was
I see.
talking.
I see. I see. Oh,
Yes,
I
that's
see.
what he asked us to do. Dave,
Okay.
could you show that first one?
And I end on this point. He says that I'm a demon. He says that I'm a dictator. Well, Mr. Speaker, I am now going to go in the Guinness Book of World Records because I have never known a dictator to allow marches up and down Broad Street every 2 weeks. I have never known a dictator to allow speeches and all kinds of protests on everything. I have never known, Mr. Speaker, a dictator to allow a leader of the opposition 10 hours on national television. And Mr. Speaker, in so doing, we changed the rules of this parliament. Because for as long as my memory can carry me back, the leader of the opposition was only ever entitled to broadcast time
Let's stop there,
equal to that
Marcia.
of the minister.
Let's stop there, Dave. And I want, through this medium, with your permission, Marcia, to say sorry, Prime Minister. Sorry. I believe the only person who could have prevented us from marching is the Commissioner of Police, not through Marcia,
Correct.
not you, Madam Prime Minister. You clearly don't understand that this is a democracy. You did not allow us, nor give us permission to march or to protest. That is not your power. That is not your authority. We are under democracy, and our constitution allows us, until you change it, Madam Prime Minister, allows us freedom of association and freedom of speech. Therefore, you did not grant us a favor. You were not kind. Neither were you a dictator, but neither are you the author and finisher of democracy and our right to do what we have done. If the Constitution has changed, And if it is no longer comes under the not mandate in the law under the Commissioner of Police.
It's a Public Order Act from
The
1970.
Public Order Act. Thank you. I didn't have time to do research on that. Please let us know. But Madam Prime Minister, you are not granting a favor. You are not kind. And if you go down that road, surely now you are intimating to us that you could be. So I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. As the old people will say, I beg your pardon, Madam Prime Minister. Could you play it again for us, Marcia, so that the Barbadian public would hear it?
They would have to find that spot again.
All right.
Yes.
Dave, then let's continue. Let's continue again on the other clip. I'm just making quick comments. Let the clip speak for themselves.
But I have not come in here to treat Parliament as a political cesspool.
Stop there.
And if there are credible cases.
The Prime Minister continues in her opening that she does not come to Parliament, and I believe her MPs don't come to Parliament to treat it as a political cesspool. And I am pleased to hear that, which would say then that we can expect a certain decorum, a certain conduct in those walls where people are privileged by the vote to send persons to represent them. Clearly, over the last days, I have not seen that. What I have seen most is a group of persons demonstrating behaviors instead of coming in to, if they're so bright, if they're so intelligent, if they're so committed to the development of Barbados, they would come prepared not just to utter praises and think it's the best thing since sliced bread and bread. We call it like sweet bread and cheese with a red juicy and coconut water. I recently had a red drink with milk in it, and it seemed like when I was growing up. But needless to say, if you would have noticed that everybody got up and thought that it was the best thing that ever happened and used most of their time to denigrate, to insult, to belittle the leader of opposition. And the Prime Minister is saying that she does not come or she does not encourage the House of Parliament to be a political cesspool. And those of us who I grew up with backyard domestic household animals, pigs, sheep, ducks, turkeys, fowls in the backyard, and there was a little pool in some instances built that was a cesspool. And a cesspool, as you know too, is a body of water in which animal waste is thrown. So that is what she's saying, if I could describe it loosely, that the House of Parliament is not that. But may I show you where some cesspool behavior, in my opinion, occurred before Dave pulls up those. I would speak to, I edited, so you can go and look at Kirk the Turk and his intimidating behavior. My word to him, if you're aspiring to replace the prime minister, and I know that would be a battle, and she has already signaled Ryan Strawn. If you are clamoring for a leadership position later in the future as prime minister, your conduct needs to be changed from now. And more than once, you feel yourself bigger than the house itself. Therefore, again, given what the MP Peter Phillips gave you when you, as leader, as chairman of government business, when you were in the well, and he instructed you not to answer the leader of opposition to question posed, that now you have the autonomy to stand in that honor chamber and tell the leader of opposition he can't tell you nothing. Basically, that is the feel I get from your tone and your comments. He can't tell you nothing. Sir, that behavior, and I'm speaking to MP Humphrey, that behavior is unaccessible, and it is leaning towards making the house a political cesspool. Then to Miss Cadell, MP Cadell, I did not get any malice coming from the leader of opposition as he sought to, to speak to you being no longer a minister. I would say, and you were taught at Belmont School, how to graciously say thank you. All that was needed was a thank you for your concern, and let's move on. You made an excellent account of your work done in the ministry that you vacated. No need to have spent that time to be so pointedly sarcastic. Let us look at this one that I would throw into the cesspool, the political cesspool. Listen to that part of the clip.
And, he behaved in a way like he would like to be the clone of the honorable member for St. Michael Northeast. And if you want to be Prime Minister clone, you just need to walk like her, talk like her. You could grow his hair like her. Or he could join the LGBTQ community, and he could dress like her,
Marcia?
and wear scarves around his neck like her. If you want to be the clone.
Let's stop. I'm asking the Barbadian public, and maybe persons from the constituency that he represents, is this who you sent to the House of Parliament twice? Is this the kind of representation that you want? I leave it there because he said so much more, but that little bit shows the level of his intelligence, the preparation made to respond to the budget that was presented by his side. And
Mrs. Colvin, I this is going so good, but and I believe it or not, I did give you an extra 5 minutes, you know. But the most we are gonna have 5 minutes left. Okay, 5 minutes
Yes,
left,
please.
and then we come
But
back.
I am doing that 1 minute that they've craved for. See?
Yeah, so 5 minutes are left. Yeah.
Yes, and I am moving towards that. I am asking to be rescued from that representation. And I'm asking Ryan Walters, where are you? Rescue mission. Let us look at the next clip quickly.
Of St. Lucie. Between yesterday and this morning, or the first half of the day, we've had the unfortunate circumstance where we listened to the torturous and rambling speech for over 9 hours of the leader of the opposition. This speech, Mr. Speaker, sir, I can best describe as political masturbation.
Stop there. Again, that's what happened. I have never, every year since this new government came in, we are moving further and further into a cesspool as opposed to the honorable House of Assembly. This is what I cringed when I heard it. Political masturbation. Even in that, and I'm not going to show it, he went on to describe the Barbados Labour Party and its supporters as stool pigeons. And that means that if you, again, don't agree with them, they treat you using such derogatory expressions. And Marcia, I wrap up on this.
Yes.
And there's a clip that we didn't get to show, but the Prime Minister orchestrated that 10 hours. It was orchestrated. In her remarks, she said that she told her people, let him talk basically as long as he wants to. And it made me wonder, Marcia and listeners, if when we hear such silence coming from that side, if they are not instructed to respond, or are they instructed what to say and what not to say? And I would say, if you deliberately instructed MPs not to get upon a point of order, if the leader of opposition was saying things that were untrue, not factual, we know that there could be a point of order. We have seen it before. Nobody except Cynthia Ford got upon a point of order, a feeble point of order, when she said that she's a decent woman and don't say that about her. And that was ignored. The speaker didn't even respond. And I feel that it was a deliberate and malicious disabuse of the power to instruct your MPs not to say a word.
Yes.
You have misled the public. And on that note, I close. We were told that Parliament is not a political cesspool, but just a sampling from these clips that I have shown, and there's more, Marcia.
Yes. What we can do, because now we know the sections, we will, we can always put them together and put them out there, so that the people can see them. But Rose, please feel free to be back with us at this point. I will say 9 o'clock, because we've kind of push ourselves back a little bit. So I say 9 o'clock, we will come back on, and we'll get some more opportunities to speak, and hopefully we'll see you on Sunday. Hopefully. All right. Okay. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
very much, Mrs. Corbin. Thank you so very much. Now, folks, wasn't that an eye opener? You can always count on Mrs. Corbin to go a little deeper. And I am so sorry that, that we have to break transmission or break that segment because it wasn't like something that we planned ahead of time, but as I knew she had something really good, so she came on tonight, but she's gonna come back, don't worry. But folks, I have for you tonight Mr. Adrian Hines, and you would have seen him all the time on the he's normally in the comment section. Tonight he's here, so I'm gonna wait on Dave to find his you're ready? Dave is ready. Okay. In the meantime, guys, before I bring him. Okay, before I bring him on, let me just say here, here, guys, that I need you to continue to like and to share. Remember that the 22nd of March at 10 a.m., we're going to be at Fontebelle. That's where we are making our display. Okay, our display of our love for Barbados and our rebellion, right? Our rebellion to what the government is trying to do to all of these different places. So we're going to be at Folkestone at 10 a.m. March 22nd, 10 a.m. Folkestone. Now we're going to have Mr. Hines is going to come on and he's going to talk about are we really a republic? What has happened? Barbados, a republic since 1966. He's going to take us through that journey for 20 minutes. And then right after, I promise you, I'm going to take you on a timeline for Jemmotts Lane. Okay. All right. So here is Mr. Adrian Hines. I finally get to see who you are. You're muted, Adrian.
There we go. Hi, Marcia. How are you?
I am doing good. You're right there. You're there in Boston, aren't you?
Just outside of Boston, not directly in Boston. Yeah.
Yes. Well, Mr. Hines, you're always in the comment section. Sometimes you cuss us. And so people can see that, it's not about us being right all the time. And we only have our friends on here. Adrian has cussed me. He's cussed Caswell. He cussed everybody on the show. But guess what? He has something that he has to say to us. And I thought that it's very important. I would like to encourage you guys, get pen and paper right now or use your phone, take screenshots and go. So I'm not even going to, he only have 20 minutes tonight and then he's going to come back on, he'll be coming back on Sunday night. Okay. So I'm going to get out the way and let him go. So go ahead, Dave. Give him his PowerPoint and let him go. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
All right. Good night, everybody. Good night, Marcia. Good night to the loyal opposition. It's not fair, Marcia, to say that I cuss you guys. I'm very passionate about what I believe in. And when I see ideas that that don't really represent what I think is the truth, and not that people are malicious with the truth, and given the fact that I was in the chat section and not able to really participate, I thought I should, amplify my, but so I wouldn't classify it as cussing.
So anyway, I exaggerated it a little bit.
Right. So anyway, the reason why I'm doing this, I strongly believe I'm on Facebook a lot. I love politics. I'm a political junkie, both U.S. system and the Barbados system. I go from page to page. I look at what people are discussing. I learn. I get a sense of what people or what I think people are discussing. And I a lot of the issues that people in Barbados are discussing seems to delve on the abuse of power, right? And I've come to realize that there are arguments out there that 60% of Barbadians have a good argument that when they say that they're done with politics. I understand the frustration. When they say that they don't see any difference between B's and D's, I see that and understand that frustration. I just differ on how they've decided to deal with it. I think the best approach is to inform yourself of the system, because you'll get to realize that the issue is the system and not necessarily the parties. And then if you are informed, then you can decide that you're going to vote on a single issue, change the system in order to get my vote. So one of the issues out there that have been used a lot is this idea of a republic. I keep hearing people say, since we became a republic 2021. And I thought that this is a good segue for me to start to get people informed about the Constitution, about the system of government. So I'm going to start with what is a republic. And after this session, I'm going to talk about Westminster, what about the Constitution, and what we need to do. These are different, not all tonight, but these 4 installments I'm going to use to help people to understand that their frustration is really with the system of government. So, so what happened in 2021 was a big ceremony. And as a result of that ceremony, people believe that something fundamental occurred to the point where the government believes that, or have led Barbadians to believe that the idea of being a republic is so important that it should or can replace the idea of independence, right? And that got me to thinking that, well, what they really did was not that big a deal. Why this huge push to position the idea of republic over independence? So I decided to use that to go back to the system of government to help people to understand that what happened on the 2021 wasn't really that big a deal. And I start with this, right? Barbados became a republic on November 30th, 1966, in real terms and practice, right? That's answering the question, were we a republic since 1966? And I posit that we were, right? Can we go to the next slide? Okay, so what is adult suffrage? Adult suffrage is defined as the right to vote, which is given to all people, irrespective of their caste, creed, religion, sex, or economic status. All right, next slide. All right. So when did Barbadians achieve adult suffrage? Barbadians achieved adult suffrage in 1951, which allowed all adults, both men and women, to vote regardless of property ownership or income. And anybody, in the 50s, born in the 50s and 60s, and probably listened to Trevor Marshall and the other historians would know that there was a time in Barbados that you had to have property in order to vote, right? Next slide. So when Barbadians got their adult suffrage and were allowed to vote in that election in 1951, who were they voting for? And I pull this out to distinguish that when, as you probably know today, you probably don't pay attention to it because it's just, a subconscious thing that you do. When you go to the polls, the people or the names that are on the ballot, right, are the candidates, right? When Barbadians achieved adult suffrage in 1951, the people that were voting for were called candidates. And these candidates were individuals running for elections to represent constituencies in the House of Assembly. Next slide. Next slide. So what was the title of a successful candidate? Think of anybody, think of Tom Adams when he was running for St. Thomas, or even for the Prime Minister who runs in St. Michael North East, I believe, who's been, consecutively being elected. When they get elected, they're called representatives, right?
Yes.
They're called representatives. So next slide. So in 1951, Barbadians started to vote, all Barbadians started to vote for candidates, and the successful ones became representatives. So what is the name of the governance system in which there are representatives? It's called a representative democracy. So in 1951, right, we were showing, practicing elements of representative democracy. In 1951, we were still a colony, but we were showing and practicing elements of representative democracy. So what is representative democracy? Next slide. I think we jumped ahead.
So we just need to go back. Yes. Thank you.
Right. Barbados representative democracy in 1966. I think we've. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'll go ahead. Yeah.
Go right back one more, Dave. Back. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Right. Good. What is representative democracy? It is a system of government where citizens elect officials to represent them in the decision-making process. And in this system, the people do not directly vote laws and policies, but instead choose representatives who make these decisions on their behalf. Representatives are accountable to the people through elections, and their authority comes from the consent of the governed. We were doing this since 1951, right? We were practicing elements of being a representative democracy, but we were still a colony, right? Next slide. Barbados representative democracy in 1966. So here comes 1966, when our government delegates went to England with a draft constitution, presented it to the British. The British accepted it and granted us independence. The Barbados Independence Act of 1966 is British law that makes us a sovereign state, right? So did Barbados have representative democracy when it became independent in 1966? Of course, right? I mean, they were practicing it since 1951, right? When we became independent on November 30th, 1966, by that time of independence, Barbados had already been practicing representative democracy for several decades. And the island had a parliamentary system of government, which is a form of representative democracy. The key features of this system, including electing representatives to the House of Assembly, were already in place. 1951, we were practicing elements of representative democracy. 1966, when we became a fully sovereign state, right? We were, in actual fact, a representative democracy, right? So, a break here again, because in 1966, we became independent and we titled ourselves a constitutional monarchy. Next slide. So what is a constitutional monarchy? And in a lot of the conversations in Barbados, you hear monarchy, you don't hear constitutional. They drop the constitutional and the focus is on monarchy. Now, a constitutional monarchy is a system of government in which a monarch, a king or queen, acts as the official head of state, but their powers are limited by a constitution and laws. And in this system, the monarch's rule is ceremonial, and the government is run by elected officials such as the prime minister, the cabinet, and the parliament. So it's very important that when you hear constitutional monarchy, now you're not going to hear it anymore because we've removed that from our constitution. But when we were a constitutional monarchy, the monarchy was not real. It was subject to law. You cannot, if you drop the constitutional from the word monarchy, then it becomes something else. Next slide. Absolute monarchy. If you're not a constitutional monarchy and you are a monarchy, then you are an absolute monarchy. An absolute monarchy is a form of government where the monarch has unrestricted power and acts as the central authority of the state. In this system, the monarch holds absolute control over the government and its functions without being limited by laws, institutions, or other governing bodies. The monarch's authority is often believed to come from divine right, meaning they are seen as having the right to rule given by God or a higher power. Next slide. Was Queen Elizabeth an absolute or constitutional monarch? That is the question, right? I'm trying to get to my talking points here. I will posit that Queen Elizabeth was a constitutional monarch, right? She was not an absolute monarch. A constitutional monarch, as a constitutional monarch, her role was largely ceremonial, and this is in England as well as Barbados, right? Her powers were limited by a constitution, and in the case of the United Kingdom, by an unwritten conventions and laws. In practice, she did not have the authority to make decisions or government policy or to pass laws, or to direct the function of government. These powers were vested in the elected officials, such as the Prime Minister of England and the Parliament of England and Barbados. Queen Elizabeth was not an absolute monarch. She was all ceremonial and a figurehead. So that brings me to the next slide. What is a republic? A republic is a form of government where citizens elect representatives who makes decisions and run the country, where the government is based on a constitution, which is the highest law of the land. Isn't that what we had in 1966? Yeah, that's what we had. So since a constitutional monarchy is a symbolic label and a ceremonial entity, and added to this, Barbados had representative democracy and a constitution, right? Was it not a republic in real terms and practices since 1966? I posit yes, that in real terms and practice, Barbados functioned very much like a republic from the time of its independence in 1966. While it was labeled a constitutional monarchy, the role of the British monarch in her role as Queen of Barbados, and I can put that out there, since 1966, Queen Elizabeth to us was not Queen of England, she was the Queen of Barbados, and I can prove that by pulling documents out of Hansard in UK. So the British monarch in her role as Queen of Barbados, Queen Elizabeth, was ceremonial and had no real influence over the day-to-day governing of the country. The Governor General, who represented the monarch in Barbados, was also ceremonial, and the real political power lay with the elected government headed by the Prime Minister. Right? So next slide. Right. So was Barbados, is that all of them? Yeah. Was Barbados functioning as a republic in 1966? Representative democracy was in place, and with a ceremonial monarch and governance in the hands of the elected officials, I am saying that the Barbados was, for all intents and purposes, a republic. Right? It was a republic. Here's why Barbados can be considered a republic in practice since 1966. It had, and I'm just recapping right now, representative democracy, right? We had the monarch was just a ceremonial role. We were a sovereign state, and our elected officials had the power to govern, right? So while Barbados was technically a constitutional monarchy, it had all the characteristics of a republic in practice, as the monarchy's role was purely symbolic and had no substantive impact on the country's governance. Power was in the hands of the elected officials, and the country was fully self-governing. So think of it this way, right? Mia Motley took a house that was built in 1966, put a splash of paint on the front, had a big homecoming ceremony, housewarming ceremony, right? And then walk around telling people that she built the house. She did not, right? She did not. So I don't know if there's any more slides. And if anybody has any questions on this, I'm going to make these talking points that I have a document of the Marcia Week show that you can give to anybody. They don't already have to take notes. These are good answer and question notes. They're not very many, but would give people the ideas that they would need to reinforce that we were a republic, and that what happened before 2021 and what happened on 2021 does not match the ceremony that they had, or the need to remove independence. Independence is still the singular activity that brought us to republicanism as we are today. And
as we are.
Right. So before we play this to show Mr. Frondell actually explaining that he had started two governor generals without the Queen knowing, I just wanted to say that, again, I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about Westminster. I'm going to talk about Constitution, because these things will also help us to understand our system of government as the reason as to why we have such abuse of power, such outlay of power, not in the interest of people. And I want people to think of a big circle, right? That is labeled Westminster. And within that circle, there's a smaller circle labeled Republic. And just a very small circle within that is labeled Constitutional Monarchy. That's what it is.
Ah,
right?
okay.
Right. So when Mr. Torrance said that you cannot have a republic with a Westminster Constitution, he's absolutely correct. Because it is within the Constitution that the Prime Minister derives all the power that she has. Power that people like Ezra Hallin has as akin to the power that ancient monarchs had. And to have an office of leadership in a republic with such powers, it's not really a republic. So that's the problem we have. So here's Mr. Stewart, and with that, thanks, Marcia, for having me to make these comments.
But you hang on there, and in case anybody has any questions, very efficient with time. Very, very good, Adrian. Go ahead, Dave.
When Barbados was settled and Charles I was king, Charles I had more power than any modern cabinet in the Caribbean or in England. Because that is, the kings in those days had all the power that there was to be wielded. His son Charles II had that amount of power as well. But the difference is that Charles III, the present king of England, does not have any of those powers at all. He is just a figurehead. In fact, the cabinet of Britain, when the last court meeting was coming up in Egypt, told Charles III, we don't want you to go, and he had to comply. But they couldn't have told Charles I or Charles II that. They might have paid for it with their necks. Similarly, Elizabeth. When we got independence, Elizabeth II was the Queen of England. Elizabeth I, though, reigned in England from 1558 to 1603. She was a Tudor queen. She had more power than any cabinet in the Caribbean today, or any cabinet in England, or any other part of Europe. Because that was what happened in those days. But Elizabeth II, the one with whom we dealt, was just a figurehead. She controlled nothing in Barbados. She couldn't make any decisions for us. She was nobody to run from because she influenced nothing going on here. And as I said, the time would have to come. We knew it would come when we would tire of having to take oaths to her and so on. But it was my privilege to choose two of her representatives in Barbados. She didn't know them. When I chose Sir Elliot Bergo, she didn't know him. And when I chose Dame Sandra Mason, she didn't know her either. She met them subsequently, but she couldn't tell me no. Because the cabinet of Barbados runs Barbados. She's just a figurehead. And similarly, in England.
Yep. That's it. Out of the mouth of a prime minister. He knows. It's been proven. He's not the only one. There's so many people in England that can tell you the story about the symbolism of Queen Elizabeth, that a lot of people believe, you know, she's more than what she is. Somebody said that she's the greatest example of quantum physics, that she at the same time has all the power and no power, you know, and it's a joke. But it's just, Westminster is suited to Britain because, and I'll finish with this, because the English love the monarchy, the monarchical system, but they didn't necessarily like their monarchs. And they took the royal prerogative, the real power that made a monarch the monarch, and gave it to the office of the prime minister. So they didn't really change the monarchy. They just split the responsibility. Our absolute monarch was, they had succession rights, and they had the royal prerogative. The monarch today has succession rights, but don't have prerogative, right? So with that, if anybody has any questions,
Yeah.
You know, they
Let,
can
let
find
me
me.
ask any questions. That was really very simple. And when he comes on Sunday, he's going to pick up from here and go into talking about the Westminster system and a little bit of what Mr. Thorne was speaking about in his reply to the budget. Anybody, any questions that you have for him this evening? Anybody, go right ahead. Go right ahead quickly. In the
So
yes.
as I said, Marcia, I'm going to send you the talking points that I use that you can share with
Yes.
anybody so they can have a record of what I discuss.
Yes. And we will do a quick review on Sunday night and then go thing. Everybody seemed to be good. They're saying well done. And you see how it works, guys. He's come from the comment section and cussing us. Always I use cussing, but not always agreeing, and that's okay. And you know what? We never once only people who were being, calling the panelists names and so on. Those people, they're not, we don't see them anymore. But he just would always state his view, and that's okay. That's welcome here. Davida Maynard is saying, are the odes to the Queen significant for anything?
Nope, they're not. It's all pageantry. It's all pageantry. They're not. She has no say in the running of the country. None whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good question. Anybody, any other question that we have? And get ready for Sunday. We're going to do a little more education on this, guys. Any other question before Adrian goes? So somebody's saying the Queen's consort was just pomp then.
Of course, yes. It's all pomp in England and Barbados, as you heard the Prime Minister said. It is all pomp and pageantry. As I said, the Brits loved all that pomp and pageantry. But in the event that they get a monarch that is cruel, and they've had quite a few throughout their history, that role has been given to the Prime Minister. And as you know, Prime Ministers come and go in England, right?
Yes.
If they don't do well within the life of a parliament, you can have 2-3 Prime Ministers arise and fall. And it's not a big deal because the English knows that these people with this power can let the power go to their head. And they need to be gone, and that's what the English are good at. We don't have that in Barbados, and that's the problem.
No. You know what's interesting, and you can look at the question that Lookup has, is that you are doing more education through this show than what the government has done, and there might be a reason they didn't do that part.
Well,
anyway.
You see, none of them approached the comments that Ralph Thorne made about the issues with our government. They didn't. None of them touch it because they know it to be true. It's been the biggest secret in Barbados that we don't really have a functioning democracy as a result of Westminster.
Wow. But listen, and I can tell you, it's not that Mr. Hines is a fan of Mr. Thorne. I want you to understand that he's being very objective in making that statement. And so you really need to go back and look at what Mr. Thorne said, and we're hoping to get all of that organized on Sunday. So then we play that and then we hear you, something like that. But the person is asking, there's a question here. Oh, the question is gone.
I see Vihoy is asking about the Republic Constitution. Yes, I mean, you can't have a republic with Westminster governance system superimposed over it, right? It just doesn't make sense. You cannot have a prime minister with the level of power that they have. First of all, the office on itself has too much power. But this particular prime minister, with the way the government is currently constituted, is just simply ridiculous, right? One, cabinet is supposed to be reportable to Parliament. Parliament is membered by 30 people. 29 of those people are members of cabinet, and cabinet has this thing called collective rules where they collectively agree, whether within cabinet meetings they disagree, but if the majority carries, then they automatically agree. So they can't come out of a cabinet as a minister, put on the hat of a representative, and argue against what they collectively agree. So in essence, the prime minister who controls cabinet controls parliament. And if that's the case, then we truly have a monarch,
We have
or
a monarch.
despot,
Or a
or
despot,
authoritarian, but somebody with outsized power, and she's using all of it.
She's
right?
using, and which is why she
Right.
said
It's
that
ridiculous.
this is why she said you know, Miss where Miss Corbyn was getting at that point where she said that she, you know what, she allowed the marches. It's not that she allowed the march, it's a Public Order Act based on the Constitution gives us the right to march. And
Yeah.
it, you know, the prime minister can't get up and say we can't march. It is going to be that's why we send our request to the commissioner of police. You
Mhm.
know, so even with that, but you're going to go some more into that on Sunday.
Yeah, on
When
Sunday.
we have some more time. I want to ask everybody in the meantime to find that section that Mr. Thorne, that would have been on Wednesday morning. No, is that Wednesday morning?
Mhm.
He did it in the morning, I believe. Wednesday morning, look for that one on Wednesday morning, write it down and find that spot and listen to it so that you're prepared for Sunday. Okay? Very important. Well, thank you so very much
Right.
for coming. Somebody says that this was a master class. You don't want to miss it on Sunday. Please, and thank you so much, Adrian, for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Tell Dave to find Gabby's Westminster is Killing Me, because we're gonna play that after. I'll send him the link to it. Don't worry about it.
Send him the link. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Adrian. God bless.
You're welcome. Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Yes. Bye-bye. Wow. Yeah, a master class, you know, and I learned something between you know, his comments, and then I heard from Mr. Thorne, which is required watching. Go and watch Wednesday. Find that section. Okay, on Wednesday. And if we find it, we will put it up and put on it the label, the correct label, so that you can watch it before the show on Sunday. Okay, so that you can understand what is going on. Okay, somebody said the song is West Indian Politician by Gabby. Okay. Yes. Oh, yes, M. Gardner. We see the hurry for the cybercrime bill. Yes. So, all right. Let's go quickly, folks. Let's go quickly to Jemmotts Lane. All right. We don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to try to be as efficient with time as was the Adrian Hines. Now, what has occurred yesterday, right? And yesterday was Thursday, March 13th, and it happened in the night, really. There was they brought to the lower house this bill where the plan is to vest crown lands to Afri-Exim Bank to establish a hotel and their center, right? Like their Afri-Exim Bank, you know, their center will be there, and it's a 120 room hotel for Afri-Exim Bank. And they are, when they say vest, is that it has been given to them free of cost. All right, free of cost. And I want to the first slide that we have there, Dave, the very first document will tell us what Afri-Exim Bank is. And I believe that that it's important to start at the beginning on what is Afri-Exim Bank, and that would be number one. I think it's important for us to understand what we are talking about. Okay, so while Dave looks for that, you know, it was during the pandemic that we started to hear about the Afri-Exim Bank, right? And let's see here. Okay, so the African Export-Import Bank, also referred to as Afri-Exim Bank or Bank Africain, whatever, I can't pronounce all of that, is a Pan-African supranational multilateral financial institution created in 1993, and it was officially launched at the first general meeting in Abidjan, Nigeria, October 1993. And it is a financial provider to African governments and private businesses in support of intra-African and Caribbean trade. So listen, so that's what it is all about. The mission is to stimulate a consistent expansion, diversification, and development of African trade while operating as a first-class, profit-oriented, socially responsible financial institution and a center of excellence in African trade matters. So realize that this bank is a profit-oriented, it's profit-oriented like any bank, really, okay? And so this is what the mission is. And so this is a bank that we have gifted our crown lands. And as Adrian has said, there are lots of things happening in this country that we don't understand. It's just happening. So if these lands are crown lands, that means they belong to the people. And the what's interesting is that we did not hear any discussions, nothing about it. It just happened last night. Now there is one, as you know, we have one person in the opposition in the lower house, one MP, and that is Ralph Thorne, Honorable Ralph Thorne. And so he put up a valiant fight, but he's the only one. So therefore it's passed. It's passed. And this is when we are now hearing about it for the first time. Okay. Now let's go to the next slide. And in this next slide, we're going to see that on October 8th, 2021, there was a memorandum of understanding. All right, folks, I want you to follow what is going on here, because it's when you understand. I'm going to give you a timeline. This timeline is very important. So right now, the first time you're going to write down is October 8th, 2021. I promise you, I'm going somewhere with it. Write it down, please. October 2021, we see in the Barbados today where we're being told that there is a memorandum of understanding with the Afri-Exim Bank. This was in COVID, as you saw everybody with their masks on. African Export-Exim Bank, Dave, stop there, and the government of Barbados have signed a memorandum of understanding to expand trade and investment links between Africa and the Caribbean island state. Because remember, we saw that was part of what they do, okay? And it's important that you are listening. Folks, don't log off. It's not boring. We're getting somewhere because you need to understand, right? So remember that date. So that's when we first heard about it in Barbados. All right. Anything significant about it? There's a memorandum of understanding, October 8th, 2021. Then June 8th, 2024. If Dave could go to that one on June 8th, 2024. Oh, David, okay, you want to show me something else. So Dave is showing me here, under the Memorandum of Understanding, the two parties will explore opportunities for joint investment and trade finance aimed at expanding economic ties between Africa and Barbados. And nobody's against that. We're not against that, that we believe in that. The agreement will also facilitate knowledge sharing between Afri-Exim Bank and the government of Barbados, provided businesses and investors on either side of the Atlantic with higher quality information with which to pursue trade and investment opportunities. Okay. All right. So Dave, if we could go to the next article, June 8th, 2024. All right. So 2021, 2022, 2023, we're now at 2024, okay? About 2.5 years later. All right? So this is last year. So now this is where the speed starts to happen. The Africa Exim Bank is poised to announce financing agreements with several private sectors companies in Barbados in the coming days, right? The name of the owner here, I can't, Okechukwu, acting chief operating officer of Afri Exim Bank's CARICOM office in Barbados. So now we realize now that they have a CARICOM office, and that CARICOM office is in Barbados. So we're learning that through the article. Said proposals from 6 to 10 for 10 firms in hospitality, healthcare, manufacturing, and renewable energy are under consideration. All right. So this is what they're telling us. The development marks the first direct effort at financing the Barbadian private sector, right? And he described this as the bank's sweet spot. Since Afro Exim Bank CARICOM office opened here with a 3 billion chest, the 30-year-old financier's first foray across the Atlantic. All right. Okay. Announcements could come at the bank's upcoming annual general meeting in the Bahamas next week, although the owner, the director of the bank declined to identify the companies involved as they are bilateral deals. All right. So, so they're also providing government loans. Okay, so it says while providing some government loans, including 50 million to upgrade the Kensington Oval for the ongoing ICC Men's T20 World Cup, right? He said the bank's focus was on the private sector. All right, but we got a loan. It was not a gift. It's a loan because this is a profit entity. Okay, it's a for-profit entity, right? Though they said they would like to work with the private sector, but they support, hear what they say, we support the public sector when the need arises, but our sweet spot is more actually to work with the private sector, who are the key engine room to development in countries. These people are for profit. They want to work with the private sector, but they loan us $50 million, right? Okay. So, Dave, if we could go now to June 13, 2024. Important, because when we don't look at the details, this is when we miss a lot of information. And in the meantime, let me welcome Don. Good evening, Don.
Hi, Marcia. How you doing?
we're going to get to you, but I want you to stay on here when we're doing this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is June 13th, Dave. I don't think this is June 13th. No, not this one, please. Okay, that is going to come around June. Right. So June 13th, while Dave is looking for it, Don, I know you were listening. This is when we saw that one of the first private enterprises that would have received some money from this bank or gotten a loan from the bank was Mark Maloney. I don't know if you remember that.
That's to build the Hyatt. That's what we talked about.
To build the Hyatt and to expand something with the cement plant. So this was done on June. This is June 13th, 2024, right? Right. Yep. So this is it here. Maloney signs $100 million US. This is now 200 million Barbados dollars. Okay?
Big deal.
This is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And so, although a lot of people, it's an Afro Exim Bank, but we're giving what's, like a white Barbadian, business is who benefits from it first. But here it goes. The Barbadian businessman, Mark Maloney, has signed 2 deals with the African Export-Import Bank, totaling $100 million, right? And part of it is for the Hyatt Hotel. 90 million US would go towards the Hyatt, and 10 million, right, with trade finance facility to support the importation of cement were inked on Thursday, right? So this is what we would have seen. Again, it's important that we follow what's going on here. Now, so we went from October 8th, 2021, when the Memorandum of Understanding, June 8th, 2024, done. is when we had with the cricket World Cup, etc. They give the 15 million. June 13th, here it is another. It was 100 million US dollars to Mark Maloney. Now, June 27th, something interesting happened, Don, that I am injecting in here my opinion on what I think this is all about. I don't know. I call me a conspiracy theorist. But Don, anybody can tell me what happened on June 27, 2024? Anybody
June,
know?
and I'm not too sure.
That was last year, June. There was a fire on Jemmotts Lane.
Mm-hmm.
And the fire destroyed buildings there.
Mm.
In fact, it says here there have been multiple fires since 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's causing me to I have to really it's a very interesting thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting thing, because it to me, it's just to me, call me a conspiracy theorist, right? But it looks to me like they were basically preparing that place for the Exim Bank, right? That's just me. All right. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know. But it says here, let me just read something here. The Barbados Fire Service was again called to a fire at the former headquarters of the Barbados Family Planning Association. There have been multiple fires at the building on Lower Bay Street, St. Michael. In 2018, a 4-hour blaze on the compound of the old Ministry of Health destroyed the top floor. In 2023, another fire broke out in the building, and people in the nearby community said homeless people were living there. Are they preparing the building? I don't know. The fire service said they received a call around 1:34 p.m. and responded with 3 fire attendants and 15 officers, right? Okay, so then they relocated the Barbados family because of that fire. Then they relocated the Barbados family plan. You're falling down, Don?
I following.
Relocated to Harmony Hall. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Now, we remembered that there was a fire that they still have not told us how that fire occurred right there on Nelson Street and Wellington Street, right there.
Mm-hmm.
There was a fire that destroyed many homes. Am I being what is this, a conspiracy theorist to think that it was those things could be deliberate? Call me that. But I want to say it on the show that I'm suspect about it, because those people will have to move, and the Jemmotts Lane, they don't need those buildings there. So it's interesting. It's very interesting what has happened there. But Dave, let's go to February 25th, right? Almost 7 months later, February 25th. Look what is in our newspaper here, Don. I sent this to you this morning. February 25th, while Dave is getting it, is the notice to the developer to notice some planning and development. There is a notice in the newspaper from Planning and Development that they are planning to build these hotels on Jemmotts Lane. And if anybody had any notice to develop land, the applicant's name is African Export-Import Bank. And they're saying that this has been submitted to Planning and Development. Now, obviously the Prime Minister, who is, was the minister in charge of Planning and Development, I don't know if that has changed now, but the last time I checked, and if I'm wrong, somebody can tell me, Don, that they would have known that this was coming, right? Because we gave you the timeline from October 8th, 2021. All right. And it appears that they had some relationship with them a long time ago. All right. But the first time they came that we are aware of October 8th, 2021. But this is strange, Don, because normally what would happen is that after it's passed in the House, then planning and development would then put a notice out. Either they stick a notice on the property, they make a public notice that they are going to develop this land, right?
Mm-hmm.
But February 25th, 2025, before it was passed in the lower house, before it went to Parliament, they sent out they put out this notice here.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? For the erection of a hotel and office facility, including conference center.
Mm-hmm.
Because do you know the one for Whole Town is not out yet, you know?
Well, the town planning permission?
For the planning and development.
The notice to develop land? It hasn't come out for Whole Town yet?
The notice to develop land is not out as far as I know for Whole Town. In fact, we're waiting on that. That's not out yet.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure if it came out yet.
But it's interesting that this will be out before it went to Parliament. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. So is it that they assume that, they made up their mind, somebody made up their mind already that this is going to happen regardless of what the public thinks or whatever anybody thinks, okay? So they came to the public, but it didn't go to Parliament, okay? And they said that you had 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks. And of course, people not looking at these things, as a lot of people might not even be listening to me too keenly tonight, because we're not, it's not a big gossip, but I think it's important. Now, on March 13th was when this was brought to the lower house, okay? On an addendum, it's just a little paragraph there, and with the hope, and it was late, very late, okay, that they are going to vest in the African Export-Exim Bank free of cost to facilitate the construction of the Afro-Exim Bank African Trade Center. Mm-hmm. So all of this it was done in a different way, this particular venture, right? And I think everybody needs to go and do this research, look at it, what I'm showing you here. But I think it's important to understand that is what has happened in this particular case here. Let's see somebody. Right. Now, the other piece that I want to show you is an article. Dave, did I send you that one? January, let me send you just before Don, you need to see this. January 2025, before it gets to Parliament, the Afro-Exim Bank is in their newsletter and on their website. Dave is coming up to you now, and thank you for that viewer who sent this to me and just sent me a reminder. The beginning of this year, Don, the Afro-Exim Bank is announcing on their website that they are going to be building in Barbados. They were able to identify to their readers, right, the exact place that they're going to build and what they're going to do. At that time, it didn't go.
And this was when was that article published?
January 2025 on their website. Dave, I just sent you.
And that was before they talked about it in Parliament fully. That was because that would have been after Dr. Haynes' speech. Before Dr. Haynes' speech, sorry. Before
her speech. And so this here, the Afro-Exim Bank was published. Yes, this is it there, guys. And they're calling for architectural and engineering consulting services. They are ready to build in Barbados. Listen to me, Barbados. The Afro-Exim Bank, this is what Mia Mottley's government is doing. They already gave the go-ahead to Afri-Exim Bank. It's right here. The Afri-Exim Bank is going ahead already and getting engineers and people and construction company and asking for them, right? January 10, 2025. Okay, that's very interesting. Dave, we'll scroll up a little bit, please. Let me finish here so Don can jump in, and I know you have some other things to talk about. The African Export-Exim Bank, a Pan-African, we said that what it was already, intends to establish a state-of-the-art trade center on a prime parcel of land within the Carlisle Bay district on the southeastern coastline of Barbados. The 30,000 square meter iconic mixed use complex will sit on a 6.4 acre piece of land. The trade center shall comprise of Afro-Exim Bank Caribbean regional offices, corporate office space, 120 room hotel, conference, exhibition, and so on and so on and so forth. And listen, nobody is against development. Nobody is against saying that the bank can't, whatever. But I think the concern here is how it appears to us as though it seemed like it was, you know, the prime minister or whomever, somebody told them it's a go. You can go ahead. You don't have to really, you don't have to wait till Parliament. You don't have to wait till, planning and development. You don't have to wait on anything, but because the cabinet met, it was supposed to be the 6th day of March, but they only debated it last night. Okay. And so this is way after. Right. So I rest my case there. I rest my case there. Yes, Don. Any thoughts on this?
Well, it appears that it was a done deal ahead of time. It's just an example of politicians just coming to us with the facts late. They come because that's the thing. Mia has 29 seats in the lower house, 19 of the 21 seats in the upper house, pretty much. And she really just has to put on a show. When they talk about debating this, debating that in Parliament, are they really debating? Or are they just saying are they just saying the same thing in different ways, 30 different people, or 29 different people? Because everyone's from the same political party. They have to support whatever Mia Mottley is doing. So is it fair to call these parliamentary debates anymore? They're already done deals. It's whatever Mia Mottley says goes. So yes, they're just putting on the theatrics, and in this case, they've become even more lax with the theatrics, even though they had already signed the paperwork and everything. It looks like for the African Bank to feel comfortable enough to post it, they still hadn't told the Barbadian people. So it's very wicked and it's very deceitful as well.
Very deceitful. And as this viewer is saying, why is it free? I thought that they said that they're a for-profit company, and the 50 million that we got is a loan, as far as we know. It's a loan. So what is it? Why do we have to give them for free when they're not a charity? They're not doing anything for charity. They said that they really want to interface with private businesses, right? So with commercial business. So why on what basis are we picking up the people's land? And this is what we need to ask the Prime Minister. Why is it for free? That's the thing I don't understand.
It's true. Well, yeah, as I said, they knew they were going to do this deal a long time, and they really stalled because I guess they knew that it would have a little bit of public outlash.
Yeah. So they know, and they did it. Look at the time that they did it. They did it late at night and trying to slip it through. Another one of those. So we just thought we needed to bring this to the public, and listen, folks, that is why we are going out to march. It's all part of it. Jemmotts Lane is part of it. And if you feel a certain way to know that this was a done deal, they had this done up before they even took it to Parliament. this was done up that they could be January. They could be saying that they will be in Barbados and setting up this office and the hotel, and they're looking for construction workers, and they're looking for this and looking for that. And then they brought it to us to the Parliament last night, right? So I think we need to get out there, guys. If not, we're just a bunch of talkers, and we need to let the Prime Minister know it's not a done deal. And I think, Don, this is where we need the people to rebel. And when I say rebel, I'm not talking about with violence. I am saying resist the government.
Yeah,
resist the government. Protest. Yeah, let me hear you, Don. Sorry, I'm not taking up with.
No, I just said peaceful protest. You go ahead.
Yeah, peaceful. It's a peaceful resistance, peaceful rebelling, saying no. Yeah. But enough of that, unless you have anything else you want to say on that, and let me just give way to you, Don.
Well, I just came to talk about the budget mostly tonight. I don't know if you've touched on that already.
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Well, first thoughts would be that it's a very positive budget. As we go through it, you'll actually see that a lot of these things are quite attractive for Bajans. There are some from various classes of Bajans. Everybody could find something that they could say, okay, yes, that will benefit me. And my biggest takeaway from that is that she was just trying to make this budget as sweet as possible, because there's probably going to be an election within the next 12 months. I think that with this budget being so gracious and favorable, the next budget would have to be a lot worse. And it would make the most sense to deliver a very bad budget as soon as you've gained power, because then you have 5 years to recover from it. So all of the signs point to an election being within the next 12 months. We don't know how soon. And then that would also follow the narrative of Mia Mottley trying to become United Nations Secretary General. When she was in the budget, she let Ryan Strachan deliver the budget. After the budget, in her contribution, she mentioned that for whatever reason, if she's not here tomorrow, Ryan Strachan would be a perfect Minister of Finance. So she's already succession planning. I think, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, she is going to, it depends. If she decides to run for UN Secretary General, she's going to have to hold elections here in Barbados first, because the BLP can't win without her. They really can't, obviously. So she would have to go into the elections as Prime Minister, which she'll do, obviously. The likelihood is that the BLP would win again. Like if she called it tomorrow, for example, it would be tough to see any other political party winning. But then she'll probably step down shortly after winning, because to become United Nations Secretary General, you need to have about a years-long cool-off period between being in elected politics and going to the UN. So I just think that's her grand master plan. It may or may not be true. But you can live your life and plan accordingly.
Interesting. So you're thinking that, I mean, it sounds very plausible, what you're saying, because
all of the signs of election are there. There's lots of road works. If you are out on the highway, you'll see all the different highways getting worked on. You'll see lots of bush being cut at the side of the road, giving people jobs. The easiest way to buy votes is roads and giving people some labor jobs coming up to the 2-3 weeks before you're really 2-3 months before you're going to call the election, just so you can say, oh, I put $1,000 in your pocket over the last couple of weeks. Make sure you give me your vote.
Interesting. Very interesting. How many of you agree with it, with Don, that election will be in the next 12 months? Anybody?
For sure, that would be my synopsis. Because as I said, like as we go through it very briefly and quickly, it is a quite good budget. You know, there are obviously some things to criticize, which we'll get to, but this is definitely not one of the worst budgets. And as I said, I think that's deliberately so. It's deliberately generous and gracious to get her reelected, and then next year we'll have a very bad budget. But then the election after next year is not going to be till 5 years from now. So nobody would have remembered it by then. That's the politics part of it. It's all timing. It's all strategic.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
That comment there is funny. I don't want no $300. I want what she gave the consultants, a 20% retroactive pay. That's funny. I mean, the $300 and how the newspaper reported it, sharing the bounty. What is the bounty, Marcia? Like, where is Barbados's bounty? Do they have a buried treasure under Parliament? Are there buried oil reserves somewhere that the people don't know about? And do they have like 200 tons of flying fish somewhere? I don't understand. Where is the bounty that they're planning to share from? The bounty is only borrowed money. The only way Barbados makes money in 2025 is borrowing it. Mia Motley doesn't generate money for the country. She borrows money. So is she borrowing taxpayer money to pay taxpayers $300 each? Just giving you back your own money and casting it as if she's doing you a favor? Don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, we can go through the budget really, really quick. The first thing I wanted to touch on was the 6 hotel projects happening at the same time. Apparently, this is the first time in history that Barbados has 6 hotels being built at the same time. And my question, as always, is who's going to stay in these hotels? Are the current hotels even at 100% occupancy? In a couple years, Barbados is really going to become a ghost town. If you go into any Facebook group that has tourists coming to the island, or like a welcome to Barbados type of group chat, the majority of the sentiment from the tourists is, oh my God, I didn't know Barbados was going to be this expensive. I'm shocked at how expensive Barbados is. Lots of videos on TikTok and Instagram of tourists being like, I just paid $150 for some bread and this and that and the next. So the tourists are shocked. The tourists that come from America are used to $1 burgers at Burger King. The burgers here are $15. You know what I mean? So it's not really the affordable island paradise that, for example, Jamaica might be, or some of the other smaller islands. Barbados is really and truly extremely expensive. We have the second highest gas price in the world, which is majority of that is taxes. And then overall, it's just a very expensive country to live in. Rents are high. Everything is high. So at the end of the day, if we're building 6 hotels, sure, that's going to give 300 construction jobs at a minimum wage to a couple of Bajans. But is this really where we want to go? I don't think that all these hotels are necessary. I think we currently have even too many hotels at present. One of them is the same Hyatt you mentioned. And then hotels all over the island. So they claim that's a good thing, but I don't really think so.
Yes, yeah. Continue. I see Miss McLean there, and she's going to come in very soon. Continue, Dan.
Okay, no problem. If you have another guest, I'm happy to go. The one thing that we can really talk about at length before Miss McLean comes on, is going to say the dormant accounts. So let me get the correct verbiage. I'm trying to find the article exactly about the dormant accounts, because that is very concerning, where they're planning to take up to 50% of all dormant accounts to start the resilience fund. Right. Effective April 1st, 2025, the following measures can be taken. Up to 50% of unclaimed and undistributed assets, including dormant accounts in commercial banks, credit unions, and other deposit-taking institutions, will be utilized to support this fund. So this is supposed to be a new resilience and regeneration fund. So what is all of that? Those are just a lot of fancy words. What does resilience mean in real life? What are these funds going to be used for? And at the end of the day, is this not a headline that you would more hear from North Korea or one of those very dictatorial communist countries? You're going to take money out of citizens' bank account. And a dormant account, Marcia, is not even something great. Normally, the definition of a dormant account would be if you haven't touched an account in 2 years. So suppose you had an account there sitting down, like at any bank here in Barbados, and it wasn't your main account, but, you might use it once in a blue moon. 2 years pass, you didn't use it. You might have $3,000-$4,000 in it. It was just a savings account from way back in the day. And now then you go in it a couple years later and realize Mia Motley's taking half that money. That's outrageous. I'm even thinking about my grandmother, for example. She's about to turn 102 years old. I believe she would have dormant accounts. Even people that don't use their stuff, you can't just take the money, Marcia. What kind of authoritarian regime is that? You're taking people's money out of their
But
bank
she said
account.
she's not despotic. She's not a dictator because she allows us to march. Not that the Constitution. She said she allows us to. She allows. I didn't stop the marches.
No, is so that I would say that is definitely some of the most concerning thing in the budget. There's absolutely no reason in Barbados, which is supposed to be a free and fair democracy, for you to be literally seizing. This is seizing people's money. So I don't really see how on earth that is helpful in any way possible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And just before Miss McLean comes, I mean, we saw some action there. I'm going to bring her in 1 minute, but we saw some action after the budget, Mr. Thorne's budget reply, and then you know they're responding to his reply, and we saw Trevor PRESCOD.
Oh, that was powerful.
Oh
That
my
was
goodness.
Yeah. You want to play the clip really quickly?
Yeah, we're gonna play. I see Miss McLean laughing there. Good night, Miss McLean. You're muted.
Hi, good evening,
Yes.
Marcy
Hi, good
and
evening.
Dawn and company.
Mhm.
They call that whole thing bacchanal.
Yeah.
Bacchanal. What?
It's sad though, but let Dawn speak. I'm listening. I'm enjoying listening to Dawn. I like your style of analysis. Go ahead.
Yes, and you know,
Keep it real, as the young people would say. You know.
keep it
Yeah.
real, and that's why they're trying to silence him. You know, by putting out. I know he's not touching it. I'm touching it. They're putting out all this thing, and what I wanted to say this the other night, but you know, putting out all of these things and Don, it doesn't, you know, Don didn't mess with any little boys. You understand? Don is not accused of anything like that, and it doesn't change. It doesn't change that for anybody. You know, it doesn't change that.
Just looking at this image got me laughing.
But anyway, Dave, go ahead. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
Never be pleased with any government who can handpick somebody from around the Garrison and put them in the Senate and then tell that person, come and see me tomorrow. You're going to be a minister. Not going to support it, not even if God tells me to support it.
One thing, Marcia, let me very quickly say. A member of parliament can say anything he or she likes in parliament. They have parliamentary privilege. They cannot be sued. That's all I would say on some of that stuff that I heard. And we have to remember that.
Yeah. So let me let's hear the young people, but on that one, Miss McLean. Don, you're dying with laughing. I see all of the 32. You find this hilarious. What is going on here?
Well, for me, I echo the same sentiment. Obviously, I wouldn't put it exactly like that, or I'm not able to because I don't have parliamentary privilege. But I agree with the premise of what he was saying. That 30 seconds came from his entire contribution, and the summary of his contribution was that he doesn't believe that it is ethical, because that's the only word you could say, ethical, to be bringing in so many people from the Senate into the cabinet. He believes that the majority of the people in cabinet should be from the lower house, that the people of Barbados elect their ministers. I wholeheartedly believe that as well. In a country where I was prime minister, I would like to have 100% of my cabinet from the lower house. Senators are like a historical thing, like the House of Lords in England. It's more monarchy or descendants. We don't need to be, just because people are rich and powerful, they shouldn't be making decisions. Unelected people that are rich or powerful shouldn't be making decisions. And that's what the Senate in Barbados serves as. So I agree with what he says. I agree with what he says. They shouldn't be able to just pick up anybody from out by the garrison, make them a senator, and then make them a minister. I agree with that statement.
Okay. Somebody they want to hear it again, Dave.
I will never be pleased with any government who can handpick somebody from around the garrison and put them in the Senate and then tell that person, come and see me tomorrow, you're going to be a minister. Not going to support it, not even if God tell me to support it.
The ending is so powerful. Not even God himself.
But Ms. McLean, if the Prime Minister hears this, what is she going to do? Because is she going to fire him?
Well, you see, you can't fire an MP, can you?
You mean Trevor?
Mm-hmm.
He's a backbencher.
Yeah, you can't fire him.
He was fired before because he was in the cabinet at some point and was fired.
I believe he's just the head of the reparations task force at this moment in time. But she could easily take that from him. Like,
Wow. I tell you. Well, I mean, they're having their own bacchanal over there, Miss McLean, because Dr. Sonia Browne, I wish she would call in tonight. Dr. Sonia Browne, if you're listening, can you call in tonight, please, and represent your constituents?
You can get her in trouble as well.
You have another one again, Dave. Just she can't fire you. You can't get fired, Dr. Sonia Browne. Miss McLean just said that.
Yeah, well, she was a minister of state or a minister in health.
Yeah,
and
correct.
she was removed from that position.
Somebody wants to know who is this gentleman. So this is Trevor Prescod, and he is the MP for where again, please?
St. Michael, East Central. No, not East Central. It's one of the St. Michael constituencies in the area of
St. Michael East.
St. Michael East, right?
In the Ivy, yes, I remember that.
My Lord's Hill, that kind of side. Yeah, the Ivy. Yeah.
Yes. So, but here is another one. I'm telling you, they're, and it's so good to see people. We are happy to see this, to be honest, because what it says is that people are standing up to her. All right, and this little woman you see here, she has been standing up to her from day one, and she's not liked by Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy don't like this one. But go ahead. Let's hear her, Dave.
And the last thing I want to bring up, and I can't help it, I have more, but it would be remiss of me, and I have been accused of representing myself here. I have been accused of asking for arbitrary reductions. Madam Deputy Speaker, as I told you before, I was in more shock when I saw my land tax bill, the last two land tax bills, and I will not be quiet on it because a lot of my constituents are affected. Up to this morning, my arrears are still there. I am in arrears of, I believe it's $4,000 or something like that. Of course, interest is being added to that, and I am not the only one. I have written letters. I made it my point to have a look at BRA online and their values, efficacy, and effectiveness, customer service, empowered staff, values of fairness. No, as the honorable member said, not checked. Accountability, not checked. Integrity, not checked. Nobody. And before we had the St. Philip Speaks, I got a call from the Revenue Commissioner. Hold steady, Dr. Browne. Give us a chance. The bills are soon out again. I am out of chances. I am frustrated. I am fed up. And it's not only my constituents. Yes, we have Sanford, ROWE. There's also Fair Pilgrim and other areas, as far as I know, with unauthorized gasifications. I have constituents who had asked for waivers, a look-see at the bills. One of them in particular, disabled. Her husband has died. It has gone in since 2021. For God's sake, nobody has got back to her, and interest rates still continue to accumulate. God forbid if something happened to me or my constituents and we were required to sell our properties. Can't happen when arrears on my bills, and I am fed up. I never get angry in here. I never. But I am so fed up of checking every week online to see if it was adjusted, and it never has, and I am tired.
And let me tell you something. And Adrian, I agree with you. And a lot of people, they say, but she's still with the DLP, with the BLP. I'm not here trying to defend, you must be a DLP or you must be a this or whatever. What we're looking at is the fact that this woman is doing what she was put there to do. Right, Miss McLean?
Yes, she's representing her constituents.
And that's why I appeal to her. The number is 236-7000. Come on, Dr. Brown. They can't fire you.
Yeah,
Come on and represent your people. But go ahead, Miss McLean.
I think Dr. Brown will continue to represent in Parliament. She probably will not call. Well, I can't speak for her, but I actually met her this week. I've seen her and so on, but I actually physically met her. And she, we spoke. In fact, she has a cousin who I know very well. But I really like, let me speak first to the contributions of unlike Dr. Brown, many of those other contributions were, I'm trying to find it. Maybe Dawn can help me find the word to describe some of them. I would have preferred to hear them defend or explain the provisions in the budget. They are members of government, and therefore, why waste? Well, I don't know if they waste time. Maybe they couldn't speak to the provisions properly. I don't know, because I really wonder the extent to which some of these people read the documents and prepare before they come to Parliament. Mm-hmm. And the budget document is, several pages long and so on. But I really got very turned off with some of the early contributions, and it was an attack. Now, I suppose you call that groupthink, mob rule. I don't know, where people seem to lose their sense of self, and well, at least they're having their own expressing their own views and falling in line, because it just seemed so it was just so base in some of the comments that I heard. And I really wonder what the constituents think. In fact, I was in a couple places today. I had a very long meeting online, but outside of that, some people were expressing concern about what they heard yesterday and today and on my phone. But I just want to comment, because I want to get past the behavior, because Don mentioned a couple of things that some of the reasons that Don gave, that he thought that, I'm trying to remember the word you used, but to summarize it, a good budget. I think that Darren also likes some weaknesses, because at the end of the day, yes, it sounds as though the Prime Minister, and I take all things into consideration, is going to have an election before the end of the year, and certainly before the end of the first quarter next year.
Yeah, in the next 12 months. Yeah.
I that's how I see it. And she's scrambling to get a lot of things done. And if I have a chance, I will go back to speak to the Afri-Exim Bank, because I think that's an excellent project, institution rather, in terms of its intentions. I've followed it over the years, but it is badly done in Barbados, very badly done. And I think it stands to destroy. In fact, so I'll come back to that. So let me continue. One of the things that I would have hoped to see, because I don't understand the logic of getting 6 hotels under construction, except when I look and I ask the question, what method of construction will be used? And it is most likely one that allows for multi-story buildings. Who in Barbados are the companies, or the company that does that kind of construction? So I just add into your discussion earlier, Marcia, about how these jigsaw puzzle pieces seem to be falling into place. And so if the Prime Minister has decided that after 20-something years, or however long she's been in Parliament, she had enough, I somehow don't think that the UN will be where she will end up. But I don't know, because I don't know because the process of UN Secretary General is not one that the full membership votes on, That is decided by the Security Council. And these days, President Trump, USA, and Vladimir Putin, Russia, those are two of the countries on the Security Council that have a veto vote. So typically, if one supports and the other one doesn't, it makes it difficult. And so I don't know now that you have those two countries being a little more friendly than they normally are, whether one can negotiate to support if the prime minister were such a candidate to support her, because if one objected and exercised the vote of veto, then it wouldn't happen. But I don't want to get caught up in that. So I am looking at her decisions. Unfortunately, in her haste to put these things in place, the prime minister is thumbing her nose at all the things that she said to Barbadians that she was going to stand for when her government came to office. Good governance, transparency, etc., etc. What you have are decisions that seem to be going backwards. You're making a decision and then going through the motions of doing or following the procedures and steps that you're supposed to take. And that to me is problematic. And I'll make this one point about the land at Jemmotts Lane. Why, when I look at the structure, the financing and ownership of that bank, why can't you say to the entities, because there are ways in which non-governments, because if you look at the shareholders, there are several African governments and then some other entities. Why couldn't she say to them, let us value this land and we either treat it as a special kind of loan, because as you said, it's a commercial entity. So if you treat it as a loan, they will make money. This is a bank that has been lending out billions of dollars. So if they can make money, you're saying we will treat this as a special loan, or we can put it in and be given shares for it or whatever, so that the people of Barbados can benefit. Because at the end of the day, I really would like to know on what basis are you saying to Barbadians, we are giving them this land. A private, well, is a joint kind of venture in terms of ownership, because, and I like the concept of it, but within that ownership structure, I believe that there's a way in which that land's value can be treated as some way of an investment or equity in that bank. So I will pause there. I don't know what Don thinks about that in terms of, rather than giving away our because the bank is making profits.
Yeah, 100%.
And in the foreseeable future, I expect so.
Motley really likes these public-private partnerships. She's able to sell it as, oh, the Beijing government hasn't sold any land. We still own the land. But I mean, at the end of the day, if there's a $200 million building on your land, that's not your land. That's not the people of Barbados' land. That's not our view to the sea. That's not our access to the sea. All of that is being cut off. And it's just a way for her to scurry her way out of it. It's an easy excuse to claim that the government is making all this money from these hotels. It's simply not true. They're probably getting at least a 10-year tax holiday when they come in. The Beijing government isn't getting any revenue if they're getting tax holidays, if they're getting duty holidays to set up all the construction. The people of Barbados are not benefiting. So then the only question is, who is really benefiting from all these hotels being brought here?
That's a good question. And at the end of the day, again, when you look at how, I had a chance to walk through Broad Street this week. And I started to count the buildings that are closed. And you know what happens to a building when it is closed up? It starts to deteriorate. Barbadians, Bridgetown is looking ramshackled. I am really concerned. And this is one of the things that I would hope to, because there has to be some transformation. It probably cannot continue to be majority retail space. We have to look at that. And my concern is you're building all of these hotels. The vast majority of persons employed in hotels would be low-skilled employees. And I've said this on here before. Assume even that we can occupy those, which I think you made the point, Don, and others have made this point, that currently with the kind of prices, I think VHOI put up that an average room is like $300 US.
That's outrageous, yeah.
And that's why it is, that's the reality. It's ridiculous. So think of how many people can come and spend 2 weeks in a hotel, two people, probably a couple or whatever. But think of somebody who has some children, and you start to see that we really are catering to a certain level of income. And so when you build all of these hotels, who are going to come? And when you don't get them occupied, what happens? It just reminds me of a hotel I went into years ago when I was at the University of Oistins teaching. And I went to a conference and we were in Aruba, and it was one of these massive hotels. But clearly the rooms, some of the rooms that they had to utilize had not been used for a long time. I am very sensitive to mold, and I had to change rooms, you know. And so it is madness, and there's an arrogance to it that makes me get very angry because they're treating us like we're stupid.
Yeah. I mean, it's clear, as I was saying to Don, it's clear that it's a for-profit entity. And the money that we got for the Cricket World Cup was a loan. It was a loan. So are there other deals that we're not aware of? Are there kickbacks? Did somebody get some money? Did what? Or you know, who's going to make the money here? You know, I'm seeing where family members, Don and Miss McLean, of some of these leaders, some of the people in government, key people in government that are now all of a sudden they're in real estate. They're, you know, it's this kind of, it appears, it gives that appearance of collusion and nepotism and all kinds of, you know, things happening. Who is the law firm that is going to be doing this business here? That's all. Who's the construction company? Is it Maloney? I don't know. I'm asking the question. Why is it being done in such haste and you're not following the correct procedures? It is causing us to think that there is corruption. It feels like corruption. And corruption is not necessarily, as Mr. Thorne is saying, that somebody stole your money in the pocket, whatever it might be. But you're talking about collusion, you're talking about nepotism, you're talking about all of these different questions. You know, who is the accounting firm? Don, you're a CPA, you know, they have to be dealing with an accounting firm here.
Mm-hmm. It's true, 100%.
All of those services, you know, who is the company, all of those things that we have to who is the construction company? Who is actually making the money? You were saying something, Ms. McLean?
Yeah, we are talking about the Prime Minister, and she's Minister of Finance and so on. But I want to pick up on something that Adrian shared tonight in terms of collective responsibility. This is not even a government that has a very slim margin. This is a government with 29 members of Parliament out of 30. And when you look at the size of cabinet, with that number, even though Mr. Prescod is complaining, the backbench is still very small because you have this massive bloated cabinet. That's the best way I can describe it. They are responsible for the actions as well, even if decisions are taken and they hear about them after the fact, or they have to ratify them at a cabinet meeting, using a round robin rather than sitting down and trashing it out. And the Prime Minister send a paper goes, and the person is, you know, it comes from the Ministry of Finance or wherever, and they say, okay, read this and approve, and whatever the case, they are responsible. So I think it is about time that Barbadians also call on these people to say, why are you allowing these things? Can any one of you take a position where you say, look, I object so strenuously that I have to speak about it. And of course, if you speak about it, that's when you get fired. Because if you know, so I really think that this we have now to hold the members of Parliament, the members of Cabinet, hold their feet to the fire as well.
Yeah,
because
that's a good point.
They're just taking instructions.
Yeah, it's a very, very good point. And Dave has put up again the Love March. You know, I'm joining as the leader of the opposition is saying that the citizens are being aggravated. They've been pushed, you know, to rebel against authority, against the government. And rebellion doesn't mean violence, you know.
I agree.
You know, rebellion doesn't mean violence. So it's important that we get out there on the 22nd. We can't sit down here on this panel. I'm not just going to sit on here and talk. I will be at Folkestone. I would be at Folkestone. If you believe that the government should not give away the crown lands, your land, should not give it away to a private entity. It's not to build a school. It is not to do charity work in Nigeria. It's to a bank. And I don't know. I was doing some research on this bank, and I would like to know. I haven't seen it yet. If this bank is even regulated. I have no problems in having relationships with African entities, done, but we need to know who is this, and this is why if we had strong opposition people in Parliament, all of these things would come out, right? All of this would come out. There's a call on the line. Okay, just give me a moment. Pleasant good evening. Yes, you can, and I'm not sure why we're not hearing you at the moment. Can you say good night again?
Good night.
Okay, yes, we're hearing now. Yes, good night. So welcome to the Marcia Week Show. I'm so glad to have you tonight. What's on your mind?
Well, I was listening to the show, but my main point is, you see, I said some time ago to you all, Marcia, that our parliament has become now like the fish market. Many people would not agree. But if you sit down and listen to the debate over the time, and then you see the reactions from the parliament, Marcia, these are big people with a responsibility. Parliament is supposed to be our heart out in the land, and we have some representatives there who have gotten fat. They go home with their thousands of dollars when the month comes in their pockets. Now, I turn off my TV when I sat down and listened to the Minister of Labour. He got up with a kind of vexation. He's talking about a marathon and this kind of thing. He was accusing the Mr. Thorne of rummaging and all this kind of thing. But what has he as a Minister of Labour? The poor people in this country, average people, how would you feel? And I would ask Mr. Jordan how he feels when you can look at somebody and tell him you offer them a 2%, $1.36. The average person out here cannot buy a loaf of bread. They cannot buy a biscuit. Barbarians are very proud people. A Barbarian will come to you, Mara, and say he would be hungry. And you know he is hungry. And he would not tell you. You would have to ask him, Martha, because of our pride. Yeah? The Prime Minister, when she could look at us and tell us now she is going to use people's dormant account, the central bank. You see, we have anatomy there, where it once said that you have a dormant account that was supposed to put this in the paper. It was supposed to be 10 years as advertised, and if the people had family, they could make a positive claim. How could you take 50% of people's money? Because we're going to take the Prime Minister's value of what she has? Huh? Are we sheep? We are too passive people. We need to wake up and smell the coffee. You could remember the Africans saying they're from Kenya when we lose our fare.
Yes, they lose their that? Yes, when we lose our fare, they lose their power.
Right, and they forget that we are the masters. They are the servants. We are the ones who give them this job. They are our servants. They come as their time is longer than 20, and then on the back of it, when you're going to talk about the African External Bank. How could you look at our crown jewels and said you are giving it to someone who is going to make money, thousands of dollars off us? That land should be utilized as an extension to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Huh? Where are we going to put all these hotels that we hear about? You just ravishing on. You talk about construction, Marcia. If you go around, and Don will tell you, as I said some time ago, you look around some of our hotels, what has happened? The occupants, you look on the West Coast now, you'll see they're refurbishing a lot of the hotels. Huh? Barbarians need to wake up. Could we take these people to, there should be somewhere that we should be able to hold these people accountable.
Yes.
Even if they lost the election, we should be able to hold them accountable when you robbing us.
Yeah.
Huh?
And
this is a total disgrace to the intelligence of Barbados. The Honorable Bar once said, one of these good mornings, we're going to wake up and find that we flying a different flight. Barbados no longer belong to the Barbadians. These hills and fields we call, huh? How are these people looking at the poor people? Then you're going to talk about people not want to work. The crime in this country is high. When you sit down and give all our crown jewels, what you expect? Huh? Because you may be looking to go to higher heights, and then you leave us with a bundle of a debt behind us. They're getting there and tell us about this, how the economy has improved. The average person out here, Martha, is feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah.
We need to let these people know where we stand. We don't have to burn down and protest.
We don't have to burn down. I agree, but we must rebel. Now, let me ask you something, caller. Are you going to come down to the Love March, showing our love for Barbados and our pushing back against on Saturday, March 22nd at 10 a.m.?
I am supporting this march, then 100%.
Yes.
It's neither BLP or DLP. This is our country. This is where we belong to. When they leave this their office or their power, or say they lose power, they could get in a plane market and they could fly out of this island.
Yes.
But we, the poor people, can't go anywhere.
Let me ask you, caller. Caller, how old are you, caller?
Martha, I told you that before.
Yeah, I want to make sure you are.
I'm looking now in the armchair.
In the armchair. Are you? I have a lot of 80-something-year-old callers and 70-something-year-old.
That's right.
So, and he's in his 80s, and you hear what he's saying, Don? He's coming to the march. So I want to hear. I want to hear the excuse. I said it earlier, caller. So, listen, Senator Haynes has lost her senator position over this kind of thing here. Okay, Crystal Haynes. You understand what I'm saying?
I think I know the young lady. I think I know her family.
Yes, and she's.
I really didn't catch on at first, but then during the weeks I caught on to part of who her family is, and this is what you call principle. We need a lot of people with principle. This is a democracy. We don't have a dictatorship where you can tell us where we must go, where we must say it. Because we can remember during the cybercrime bill. The member for St. James said he said it is freedom of expression, not freedom of speech. And I asked you all on the show, what is it?
Yeah, you believe it's 80-something? Don, you hear the fight in this Bajan man? Yeah. The claim is passive. Well, sir, when you come, make sure you come and say hello to me. So I'm going to see you.
I spoke to you already. I spoke to you at Old Town.
At Old Town? Ah, I know who you are.
I spoke to you at Old Town. Marcia, I started work in this country when I began to learn trade. I spent 6 months at trade without the odd cent. I can say to my family, I'm not going to work. And when I first started to get there after 6 months, it was $5. We work hard in this country. The banks we have banks in this country who is robbing us blind. And someone told me in order to get off when the central bank should be regulated, somebody said you got the right to the home banks, the home offices. You know, many people don't believe that we was being paid a cent, from a penny to a cent. But you can't just look at, because you want money, just look at people's accounts and say you're going to take money out of people's accounts. If you touch money, I would like to take you to the highest court in this land.
Yeah. Well,
she's not going to give us any of hers.
No. Well, caller, thank you so much for calling. We could listen to you the whole night. You can call any night you want to call.
We need some more people to support the show and express. A lot of people are frightened.
Yes.
People will tell you, oh, I heard you call, I heard you say this, but they're not willing. We need to wake up and stop sleeping.
But
we can't allow this country to go down the drain. We work too hard to get it where it is.
Wow. Did you hear that, Don? I'm speaking on Don because, I mean, he's probably how many times your age, right? And you hear the fight in this man. You know, this is something. And what I find is that a lot of the more senior Barbadians are less fearful, you know. It's strange enough because and probably it's that they feel like, listen, all that left for me is for them to kill me, you know, whatever. Yeah.
Mr. Stop crossing you.
Yeah.
The only place they could put us, and we will have to declare a state of emergency, is in prison. And when you put us in prison, there'll be so much of us, if we get in there, to feed us. We still got to feed us.
That makes sense, caller. Thank you so much. Listen, you can call any night you want to call in, right?
Thank you.
Yes, God bless you. That's a good logic there. Don't be afraid. Yeah. Don't be afraid. You know, somebody called me today, you know, Miss McLean and Don, and said to me, you know, you're doing a good job. Everybody at work watching the pro show, but we just want you to be careful. And so they've been calling me all week. I don't know what is it that they know that I don't know, and saying, oh, you know, you got to be careful of the prime minister, careful of. And I'm like, careful of the prime minister? Why should I be afraid? She's a person that go to the toilet. You understand? She's a normal person like me. Why would I be afraid of? I'm not trying to be crude, but I'm saying all of us do the same things. You understand? She's a human being. She's not God, Barbados. She is not God. Do you understand? She's not God. And stop this thinking that, oh, if something happens, you know, somebody makes a big decision, they say, oh, you know, Mia told them to do it. Mia this. Excuse me. People can't think for themselves anymore. And do you know, because people want to do something on their own. And this fear thing, I think you really need to examine it. Really examine it. She's only a person. She's only a person. But Dave, you have something here you want to play?
When principles do not align, a minister has a duty to resign. Say what? When principles do not align, Marsha say what? To resign. When principles do not align, Marsha say what? To resign. They have reached such a point. Galam. They have reached such a point. Galam. They have reached such a point. Galam, 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 lam, lam.
I received a letter from the Honorable Marsha Cattle asking to be relieved of her duties with immediate effect.
And she was removed.
With immediate effect.
She was removed.
Can we save some of it for us?
No.
Save some of it for us?
A long strips, a short strips, a flat strips, a big strips. No.
We have spoken a lot about heritage. Right now, there's a simple obelisk standing in commemoration of the landing to tell the story of this site. Not just of English settlement, but the story of the Amerindian community who were here before all of us, our indigenous population who were decimated.
No.
I understand that there's tremendous economic value for any beachfront in Whole Town, but can we save some of it for us?
No.
Even if we don't.
No.
Barbie.
What you say?
Wall to wall to wall.
No.
Wall to wall to wall.
A big strips.
Wall to wall to wall.
No.
Wall to wall to wall.
A big strips.
Money, money, money. I want money, money, money. I want money.
You're fired.
I want money.
Get out of here.
Money, money, money. I want money, money, money. I want money.
You're fired.
I want money.
Get out of here.
When principles do not align, Marsha say what? To resign. When principles do not align, Marsha say what? To resign. They have reached such a point. Galam. They have reached such a point. Galam. They have reached such a point. Galam, 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 lam, lam.
I think that we could do more.
Marcia, you have to give whoever produced this, whoever conceptualized it, you're gonna have a special set of awards because
that was world class. Yeah.
That is amazing. I take my hat off.
Listen, don't mind. It will come to you again. Okay, it's coming. They want it there. We come to you with new music all the time, and you've been saying you want something new. Well, you got something new. The phone is ringing. Good night,
and ladies. I can probably leave y'all.
Yes,
I just wanted to say one thing before I left.
Yes, go right ahead.
And that would just be remind the Bajan people. As I said, I believe elections are months to a maximum 1 year away. So don't let any short-term promises cloud your long-term judgment. At the end of the day, don't sell any votes, because if you sell your vote, you can't get representation for it. Have a great night, Barbados. Long live the
Take care.
Republic.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Marcia.
Thank you so much, Don. Very well said. Thank you. And we're standing with Don, making sure when you see the lies on social media, this is what they want to shut up this young man, okay? That's what they want to do. And people still laughing. People still die with laughter. Good night, caller. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Good night, Marcia. Good night, Maxine.
Hi, good night. How are you?
Yes. I'm okay. Yeah, kind of okay. I was listening to what the young man Don was saying, and as usual, very intelligent young fella. And we know we talked about this sometime earlier today with this African Exim Bank. My question would be to them, and I believe Maxine will have the same kind of questions. Now, whilst we are not against people coming and doing business here and making sure that they leave money here to build the economy and make sure that it actually benefits the citizens, whatever they're going to do, which is clearly not the case here with this private entity. My question would be to them, did it go to tender? Did other people get a chance to throw their bidding hats in the ring? And if so, who were the people? When did the bidding start? How much was the bidding at? Because we know is it Maxine, help me here. Is it 300 million or 300 billion?
Million, not billion.
It would have to be million.
Million,
Well,
not
300
billion.
million. 300 million, yes. 300 million, right? How did it go? What was the tendering process? What process did it go through? And for what the information Marcia would have read thus far in this program, it clearly shows you, because I have certain information to myself, it clearly shows you that there was no consultation. There was no discussion, no ideas forum, no, what we call it now? Parish speaks or town hall, nothing so. There was nothing. It is just like the whole town project that we're going to march against, and you're not going to be there. You understand?
Good. I'm glad you're going to be there.
Well, of course, man. Everything will go on, Marcia. You know, it is a done deal. It is a done deal, and I understand why Maxine will be angry. It makes me angry.
Yes.
When I saw that, I said to myself, and only people who would understand, I said to myself, but what the blouse and skirt is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And we also have to look, Maxine, at the fact of what's going to happen with not only the residents out there by the garrison, where they're going to move the school and move it into the convent, because it's suspected that a hotel is going to be placed there. How many hotels do we really need? But then we will have a PM, or as the late one would have said, a despot, saying that, talking about climate change. So they need to make up their mind. Climate change, it involves many levels to it. And if you have to look at the heights of the building, I remember they accused us, Maxine will tell you, Marcia, they accused us to quarrel with us about the same Hyatt project, the same Hyatt hotel. They want to cast the slot about that, but look at them now. Look who is the actual contractor that they quarreled with us about. I can say the same for the 2%. I think in that budget, I heard the young man say that it seems like there was nothing beautiful about that, because there was nothing catering in that so-called, what you call a budget, to the average man and young woman out there in the streets. 2% rate increase, Marcia, is a total insult.
Yeah.
To hardworking Belgians.
17 cents an hour.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I remember I want to give the people a little history.
Yeah, but right, do it in 1 minute. Do it in 1 minute.
Yeah,
okay.
I can do it in 1 minute.
Thank you, sir.
Like Roy Corbin. I can do it in 1 minute. I want the people to know. All right, those that may not know, I'm asking, I believe, will join me in this here. That some time ago, the people of Barbados was offered a good percentage increase. They refused it. Let me put it to you this way. It's like I offer Marcia $200. Marcia refused my $200 and go and take, but they're ready to go and take $10 for somebody else. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So you see, I'm 2% that they took last time from this same administration. They're taking it. They're going to take it now again. So I mean, we're the education that our water borough fought and gave you all. Use it.
Yes.
So I hope that people turn up to the march.
Yes, we need them to come out. Yeah.
We need to bring these people to the knees and show that the despot, right, who is exerting this oppressive power, because that's what the actual word despot means, someone that exerts oppressive power, right? You understand? Her oppressiveness will not work. Then she carry out smear. And I can tell Dawn that going off the show, she ain't gonna get nowhere near the UN.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're going to be there on Saturday. Please bring some people with you. Get at least 5 persons, okay, and get them there. All right. Thank you so much for calling.
Okay, man. Have
yes.
a good night.
Yes. Good night. Good night. You know, a part of what helps us, Miss McLean, to deal with what's happening here, you know, to Barbados, is sometimes you have to laugh, and the laughter helps us. I'm serious. Today, do you know that when I heard about the Jemmotts slaying, Miss McLean, I tell you, I don't even know what's wrong with me. I felt so sad. I was so saddened when I heard about the Jemmotts slaying. It reminded me of when I realized that Miss Motley does not wear the flag. It just, I don't know. And I said to someone today, I wasn't born here. Why is this affecting me so? Because it feels like disrespect, man.
It is the highest level of disrespect. And this is why I say, you know that I'm a Pan-Africanist. You are one.
Yes.
Your husband is one. Many of our members of the loyal opposition, the audience, people are Pan-Africanists. I follow on a daily basis what's going on in Africa, particularly West Africa, where we are seeing, and quite interestingly enough, these are persons who took power. You know, they were coups.
But I hate to cut you there, but I want people to just look. Hold your thought there. I don't. But look.
I hope I remember.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to show them that. No. Go ahead, Miss McLean. I should not have done that. Go right ahead.
I'm trying to remember what he was saying. I know. Let me say something else because
I'm sorry.
I want to go back to what Don was saying in terms of the whole issue of dormant accounts, because as somebody, and when I heard this in the budget, it reminded me that I need to go to one of the banks that I've dealt with to find out. And this is a bank that I currently have accounts with, because, you know, 2 accounts, because I have a checking and a savings account. And I saw a list of names in the newspaper. And somebody called me, because normally you can't even read through those. Somebody called me and said to me, your name is there. And when I checked what it was, this was it was Royal Bank. I will call the name because the list was there and I had completely forgotten to check, because somebody checked, and when they contacted the teller, the person was not even aware of the listing. Now, what happens if you, because first of all, my understanding is what has happened in the past with dormant accounts is that money stays there maybe for about 10 years and then it goes to the central bank, and there's a process even then that you can get it back. So the Prime Minister needs to be clear, because I know that people who have active accounts in banks, to the extent that money goes into the account, but because there are no withdrawals, they call them dormant, and they say you got to come back in and bring ID and all kinds of things, when in fact the person say I've been saving money. In fact, one time somebody was told in my presence, well, withdraw some money And the person said, basically withdraw and put it back. You know, so this is something that we have to look at. The other thing, and we don't have time to look at it tonight, which is extremely concerning for me, while at the same time, I'm happy that the legislation in relation to credit unions will change to allow credit unions to invest. This thing about 25%, up to 25% of assets, I will ask the Prime Minister, I will ask Ryan Strawn and all members of the government, the all 29, define for me what they understand to be assets of the credit union. Because the assets of a credit union include outstanding loans. So if you go to Marcia and borrow $100,000 to renovate your house, you know, to build an apartment or something, and you have paid off $5,000 because it's a relatively new loan, the $95,000 balance, what you owe the credit union, is part of the assets. How are you going to go and say that you're going to treat that as, you know, so I would, that's why when I started earlier, I said, I wish that some of these people, rather than talk the nonsense that they were talking, like young Mr. Rowe, who, well, I think he has a particular kind of thing. Then
Yeah.
there was
Ms. McLean, I have to cut you again. There's a
Okay,
caller.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Good night, caller.
Good night.
Yes. Good night. You seem a little low.
I just want to query about the flag that is in front of the Prime Minister, and if that's a new flag for Barbados, because we don't have any broken trident on it.
Which flag?
In front of the Prime Minister in the Senate there where they are doing the debate.
Okay, Dave, can you put back the picture on? You mean what she's wearing on her breast?
No, on the desk they have a flag on yellow and blue, but it's a crest in the flag.
Okay, probably it's the angle, but I don't think there's any change in the flag.
It don't have any broken trident in it. That's why I'm looking at it.
Okay, what are you? Let me move this and see if I see what she's speaking about.
No, that is not our flag. I don't know what that is. That is.
It just says, I think it's a Pride and Industry sign. It's the.
I don't know what that is. That certainly is not. It has the coat of arms in the middle. But our flag doesn't have the coat of arms in the middle. That's the coat of arms of Barbados.
Yes, I think the collar is gone. Collar. Right. I think if the oh yeah, I think the caller, right. So Miss McLean is correct. What I was showing them, Miss McLean, I didn't want them to miss it, and I got you to miss your point, was that she is here in the Parliament, and look again on her left breast. This is what she's wearing. She has a commitment to the UN, not to Barbados. She's wearing the same thing that she wears all the time.
Yes, the UN.
And that thing just annoys me. And it tells us, and I don't know, to me, it's a small thing, but it's a big thing, Ms. McLean.
It's not small. And the reason why I say it's not small, from now on, whenever you see a head of state, a head of government, head of state being a president, you know, and so on, attending international meetings, let's say the UN, most times you will see them, and you know what they're wearing? The flag. They may have two, the flag of their country, and then they may put something like that on. But usually you will see diplomats and heads of government, ministers of government, when, you know, with the national flag on. So you would not see most people wear that by itself. You're correct. And it really says, if you're going to go to the trouble to wear a pin, the first pin that most people will put on there is their national flag.
Yeah, because I saw you with your national flag. Yeah. Okay, good night. There's a caller, Miss McLean. Good night, caller. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Good night, Marcia. How are you?
I am doing well. And how are you doing?
Bittersweet, you know. I'm at work here watching your show.
And the call.
You sound like you're not in Barbados.
No. I'm overseas. They call me the conky man. I'm the man that always causing problems.
Oh, yes, telling me about the conkies. Yes. Good night,
But,
sir.
good night to you and all the people that are listening
Yes, sir.
across Barbados, the Caribbean, and all over the world. But I got to say, it saddened me and sickened me to see that a lot of Barbadians are not taking this, what you guys are doing, seriously. To be honest, even up here in the diaspora, made them fight over these things. They can wait to the last minute. Barbados is gone, almost gone, to those who have no vested interest but money into Barbados, then to want to react. That's sad, man. That is sad. I really appreciate what you said just now, that you wasn't born in Barbados, and it saddened you. And I would hope more Barbadian citizens would take flight to that and use that as, something to say, look at Marcia. She's from Jamaica. She came to Barbados fighting on our behalf to make Barbados better. What more can we do?
Well, you're fighting too. You're fighting too, sir. Miss McLean is fighting. We all are. Yes.
Yeah, you're people are, but I'm talking about those that stay on the sidelines, and know what's going on. I want to join you. It's free to join you, to help you. If I was there, I would.
Yes.
I would be on the front line, but there's a lot of those that's there. A lot that listen to you, I know, and hear you, but they're just, should I say, afraid? But you can't be afraid when your country is being sold out right in front of you. When I hear what that Jemmotts thing today too, I was, can't use the word, but I was pissed.
I was, yeah.
And I tried to call him to brass up today to ask that guy, Mr. Moscow, when COVID was happening, did you guys sell out, just like Fort Town, do you sell out Jemmotts Lane, the Garrison, and all those other places too? Because these things didn't just sell out yesterday,
No.
These things were in the plan long time ago. So I guess this administration know what it was doing under the eyes of lockdown, COVID, etc., and sell all these things. And now slowly we're knowing that Holton gone, Jemmotts Lane gone, Beggars Row gone, the guard, it's sad, man. The business need to wake up.
Yes. Well, caller, I want to thank you for calling. And where in the US are you?
In Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts. Okay. Well, yeah. I could hear the love in your heart. Today, I tell you, the thing hit the wind out of me. I don't know. I went and lay down, Miss McLean. I went and lay down and I was just praying and I was asking myself, Marcia, why are you worrying about this thing? You weren't even born here. And I realized, you know what it is? It's a calling. It seemed like I have a calling. And that's all I could put it up as, because when I look at these, this thing annoys me to the hill.
But because I used to see them all the time. But that's a standard thing.
It's a standard. They're wearing they're wearing
pride out in country.
The pride of their country. Mia Motley doesn't take any pride in Barbados.
These are heads of government, and they are saying, "Here I am representing Antigua and Barbuda here."
The whole of them, and she should not be.
Trinidad and Tobago.
She should be removed as prime minister just for this. She should be removed.
No, well, Marcia, before I forget,
let me let him finish.
One of the things that I really
caller, just another half a minute, and then I'll go to Miss McLean. Thank you so much. Finish your thought.
Are you still there? I didn't realize.
What is the role of the Governor General? Can we get a petition together and send to the Governor General?
We don't have a Governor General, sir. We have a president.
I'm sorry, my apologies. The
president, he means, yeah.
The president, my bad, the president. Yeah, what's the role of her? I mean, can the people of Barbados get a petition to recall some of these people that are doing nonsense to our country? Because there's something got to be done. You were in politics. What can
Unfortunately,
we do?
sir, we do not have provisions for recall. The only recall that you can have is a prime minister firing a minister but a member of parliament is, I mean, they can cross the floor and so on, but there's no recall. You are elected. You're elected for the duration of the term. What I can tell you is that is an issue that came up. It came up during the discussions on the Parliamentary Reform Commission. Some people made those kind of suggestions.
Because there got to be something that the voters can do, you know, if they're not happy or satisfied with these people doing what they're doing, if do care or protest or you know, or protest. So I'm just trying to find out, you know, because I really want to help. I'll be home soon again, you know. So as soon as I come back, I can give Mark a call.
Yes.
Know that I'm here to help.
Yes, please do. And listen to the show on Sunday. We're going to go more into answering this whole thing about the president. Every day. Okay. Thank you so much, caller. And God bless. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Ms. McLean, I hope you didn't lose your thoughts.
No, I wrote down one of them there.
Thank you.
Let me respond to this. There's no international body that can come in and, I mean, they can speak to what they see as happening wrong, but they can't change things. They can hopefully shame you know, people in a country, a government or a leader to behave. But you know, Marcia, I as you were talking about Jemmotts Lane, and I started to visualize, you go further, the BDF, then it was thrown in quite thing. I trying to find the right word, but it was just thrown in very, very surreptitiously, you know, when they talk about the closing of the Graydon Seeley School, the former Garrison Secondary School. Now, somebody made the point that school is probably less than 40 years old, and you're going to knock a school down, and they're going to move them to St. Ursula's. That's on column. What do you call that? Jemmotts Lane. That's Jemmotts Lane, just across from, yeah. And they're going to move it there. Some people say it's a smaller facility, but I want to ask a question. That property was up for sale. I am trying to remember if the government bought it or if it was bought by another person. And if it was bought by somebody else, is the government now going to buy it? And, you know, so,
but
and then
property, you mean the one, Jemmotts Lane?
Yes, where the private, the Catholic
but
school
didn't they say they are crown? It's crown lands.
I would have to go, but there's property on it. The land might have been leased, it might have been lent to, but there was a school there owned by the Catholic Church, I believe.
Oh,
because
the
I remember
Ursuline convent, Ursuline.
I would have to go back and research that because I know it was there. The whole question of buying it, government is occupying it right now. But you're moving that, you move the geriatric hospital. So in other words, you are clearing out that entire kind of area around the Garrison to do what? And I didn't get to hear him, but I heard an extract. I wasn't listening after I heard some of the nonsense. One of the things that Minister Strawn said, and I heard a clip in a news item this morning, something about our history and our heritage. And in other words, we can't get caught up in that. We need the money. Now, I want to ask him what money, because if you sell off these properties, first of all, you're talking about tourism, unless you're making Barbados a private island for somebody or a limited few people. You understand? Because we're talking about all these hotels and so on. But what if what we see happen at Paradise? Because remember, where I grew up, I will never forget the day when I walked down, when I drove past my house where I was born in Black Rock to see the clearing of what was the Paradise site. And I say to myself then, suppose, and this is no lie, I say, suppose they don't finish this project, because it was just like they had just wiped off a part of what I grew up knowing off the face of the earth. And it is still there. They say they will get back to it until they finish. You know, what will happen? Oh, it was supposed to be one of the schools of excellence, so now they're gonna move. So now they're gonna.
That's what I remember, that it was supposed to. These people are mad.
This is classic deconstruct, but we ain't getting the reconstruction, Marcy. So I worry.
But guess what? I forget Miss Corbin because her camera wasn't on. Rose Corbin.
Okay.
I forgot to put you in. Your camera wasn't on. So sorry about that. I missed you. I think I was waiting for the camera to come on. But so this is it. This is it here. This is a school here, Miss McLean?
This, I believe that is it. And my question is, what is the student population of the Graydon Sealy School? How many students previously went to school here? What is the state of this building? I mean, this looks like something that she kept as a historic kind of thing rather than a school. I cannot see them fitting the current student population at the Graydon Sealy into this. Are they going to have to spend money to get this ready now for them? You know, the Prime Minister needs to sit down and tell Barbadians really and truly what is going on in her head, what decisions she has taken. Her cabinet members need to tell us what they know and what they do not know, because it seems to me that either they have lost their sense of reason or they don't have a clue as to what is going on. Now, this has a swimming pool. I could go back and Google it. I mean, I just thought of this as we were thinking, what has been the average student population at the convent? You know, it was an all-girls school at one time. I'm not sure if it became co-ed eventually, but at the secondary school level, this just seems to me that the Prime Minister has made a whole set of promises that she has to fulfill. She has a timeline, and she'll be damned if she doesn't get it done. Do it however I can. Go and do it, and then come back and go through the motions of doing the procedural things that are normally done first, you know?
Yeah. I think I missed a call here. Let me just make sure. Okay. Oh, okay. I will give them a call back while we wait on them. Miss McLean. Yes. Good night, caller. Sorry, I missed your call. I'm sorry about that.
Yes, it's okay. What I was paying some attention to was the placing of the African Bank in Barbados, and let's get real, go beyond the superficial. It appears that Barbados is going things BRICS, and this is you know BRICS as in BRICS, the acronym. India, Brazil, you know, China, whatever it be. And the reason I'm saying this is that if the Prime Minister, with the country kind of in a hung state where there's no proclaimed constitution, but after coming from a certain place, the cybercrime bill was more or less increased, and then you are putting the infrastructure from Africa there, and it's not necessarily because you really care about Africa. It is really, I believe that what is happening is a positioning of foundational tenets within a space to dominate the region. And if I'm wrong, I'll be gladly corrected. But everything is spelling that way. A few months ago, there was a reaffirmation of things in Brazil. A few weeks ago, there was a reaffirmation of things India, and China was always in the mix. So when you can see it's like Sesame Street when they're spelling out a word, right? So just look at that, and I think that would be the guide.
Yes.
And the last thing I'm saying is that how children, you remember in primary school how children would behave and they get on punksy because they know a big brother or big sister is around the corner, so you can't touch me, that kind of way. So I strongly believe that the reason why such, as the agent was saying, powerful, they ain't not getting the big words, powerful. Such powerful behavior is being displayed is because who or what they know is backing them. So technically speaking, I got big friends, man. The people in Barbados are just grasshoppers. I got big friends. Good night. Continue the good work.
Yes, thank you so much, caller. Thank you for caring. Thank you.
Right.
Yes. Well, I really have to beg Miss I don't even know if Miss Corbin wanted to come back because I never saw her camera came back on. And my sincere, her camera is still off, so I don't know. She will have to indicate. I'm so sorry about that. That's the truth. I saw it early and then I said I will wait till it turns on, but never came on. But we're going to be together again on Sunday, and Miss McLean, hopefully, well, we've been saving you till after Mr. Thorne gave his budget response, and so if you can prepare something for us, have a segment on Sunday, would be really, really wonderful.
I want Dave. Well, I'll try and see if I can get somebody to find. I was saying that Minister Strawn had made this comment in the news, because I didn't finish, because the last caller came on about. In other words, he was minimizing the importance of history and heritage and saying that we need to earn money, and I think it was totally ridiculous. I was going to use another word. I have to control my words. People have been. I went to church this evening, and some people say, I heard your comment. I posted. I don't know if you heard it, Marcia. I was in a chat, and somebody who I believe I know, because I saw a chat where it was posted, but you would have seen it in that chat outside about
I didn't see it. I heard about. I was so busy working on something.
But anyhow, the point that for me, I have to find it, because it probably in his wrap up, he was trying to justify these hotels, and my question is, you're going to build all of these hotels. What are people going to come to see? Because you eliminate the garrison, you eliminate whole town, and you just put up these concrete structures. What do they come? They can come and sit in a hotel and look out the windows, or sit on the patio and imagine what used to be there.
Right.
And it's ridiculous. But on Sunday I could speak to the budget, including the false notion that the leader of the opposition was rambling. It was long, yes, but I sat through the entire time. I did not.
It was exciting. But
it also was structured. You see, I think people need to go back, and if they think, as I said, it was long. Somebody said to me, a young man was asking about the introduction. I said, but without the introduction, you did not have a context. But we can talk about that. Later.
But you will have the time, Miss McLean, to go into that and to break it down on Sunday. Those of you who might not have seen her on a lot, or I only let her come on at the time when we are doing the Q&A, because we did not want to, because she does help. She told us that she was going to help the opposition leader, and she's on the team. So I didn't want to whether we want to reserve that for where it is and reserve our show for what the show is, right?
It would have been inappropriate to speak before him. Yeah. A reporter came to me, and I told her it would have been would be inappropriate for me to express my opinion, because in talking to her, and even here, people will say, well, you're a member of the political party, and it certainly would have been inappropriate. But we can discuss it. We can discuss.
Yeah, thank you for your grace. Thank you for being gracious to us, to the Marcia Week Show, who still come on. There's no time I asked Miss McLean, can you come on? I said, come on and help me with the Q&A. I might not be able to answer all of the questions, even though you don't present, and she does not tell me, well, I should be presenting or anything like that.
I was going to say to you, Marcia, somebody would say, but she ain't got no life. So.
No. I know you're busy, because sometimes you're rushing from one thing to the next to be with us. And
but it's really, important. Very important.
Oh, Rose's mic is on. Let's say good night.
Thank you for being gracious to us, to the Marcia Week Show, who's still.
Okay, so she's listening. She's listening.
Yeah, she's listening. Okay.
Yes. No, but Rose will be on as well, because she raised some important points. We have a fabulous panel team, guys. Really amazing team. Dr. Purdy, he coming with fire on Monday. You're right. So we have a fantastic team, and you're going to hear from Rose on Sunday. You're going to hear from Miss McLean on Sunday. You're also going to hear from Adrian. He's going to finish up. He's going to talk. I think it's so important to talk about the Westminster system on Sunday. And you're going to hear from Glenn Murray. He called me, said, book me for Sunday. My guy ready to go. So, guys, this is where we say good night, and we're going to play the song one more time. And I would say, in about 20 minutes or so. It's going to be up on our site, and you can share it. We're going to put it on Instagram too. So here we go. New song, new tunes. Go ahead, Dave. Play it, Dave.
When principles do not align, a minister has a duty to resign. Say what? When principles do not align, Marsha say what? To resign. When principles do not align, Marsha say what? To resign. They have reached such a point. Galam. They have reached such a point. Galam. They have reached such a point. Galam, 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 lam, lam.
I received a letter from the Honorable Marsha Cattle asking to be relieved of her duties with immediate effect.
And she was removed.
With immediate effect.
She was removed.
Can we save some of it for us?
No.
Save some of it for us?
A long strips, a short strips, a flat strips, a big strips. No.
We have spoken a lot about heritage. Right now, there's a simple obelisk standing in commemoration of the landing to tell the story of this site. Not just of English settlement, but the story of the Amerindian community who were here before all of us, our indigenous population who were decimated.
No.
I understand that there's tremendous economic value for any beachfront in Whole Town, but can we save some of it for us?
No.
Even if we don't.
No.
Barbie.
What you say?
Wall to wall to wall.
No.
Wall to wall to wall.
A big strips.
Wall to wall to wall.
No.
Wall to wall to wall.
A big strips.
Money, money, money. I want money, money, money. I want money.
You're fired.
I want money.
Get out of here.
Money, money, money. I want money, money, money. I want money.
You're fired.
I want money.
Get out of here.
When principles do not align, Marsha say what? To resign. When principles do not align, Marsha say what? To resign. They have reached such a point. Galam. They have reached such a point. Galam. They have reached such a point. Galam, 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 lam, lam.
I think that we could do more.
Marcia, I am very serious. Whoever put that together deserves a special award. That is. And the younger the person, the bigger the award they deserve.
Oh my lordy!
Reached such a point. Galam have reached such a point. Galam, 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 lam, lam.
I think that we could do more.
Oh Lord!
Oh my God! Listen,
and the award goes to
material galore. We didn't even touch. Listen, it's so much to deal with. But anyway, good night, Miss McLean. We will stay on here. You know, we love to laugh. We'll stay on here and laugh the whole night. Good night, folks. When you see it, share it, and make sure you come on. Come be down there at the Folkestone Beach Saturday at 10 o'clock. All right, and God bless. Bye-bye.